Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is the day that we have been waiting for. It is Valorant Divisionals action coming at you live and kicking off the day on the desk. It is myself, and joining me is Cookie. How are you doing today? Are you ready for all this Mnvl Valorant action?
Oh, I'm so excited. We're going into divisional playoffs here. This is where teams really need to make a main name for themselves to go to the full in-person states tournament. This is going to be super interesting. Skep, get us into our first match here. What's happening?
Yeah, so we had a few shifts in what we were looking at. A lot of matches to pick from, right? Everybody's getting it going today. But the match that we landed on, folks, we are going to AFSA versus Totino Grace, a very close matchup, a 15 seed. And I believe 15 is the AFSA squad and taking on Totino Grace sitting at the 18 squad. So you can't really get a tighter matchup to kick off the day here, Cookie.
No, absolutely not. AFSA in the past, very, very strong team. They've made a name for themselves in their aggressive playstyle around Spyansky, who is their kind of star player, and Totino Grace, they've really kind of grown up as a team, really matured. They went from a low start to a really high end here into the third season of Valorant. It's going to be an interesting game, and I am under the impression actually that AFSA is running a sub today, so it's going to be interesting to see who they're subbing out and who they're playing with.
Yeah, man, that is always tough. Sub on a big day like today, right? This is you're playing for making it to the big day, the big tournament, right? You got to finish top two in your group if you want that opportunity to show up to MOA and get that chance to play in front of everybody, right? Get the chance to get casted in a land setting. It is truly unbeatable. So all these kids are going to be putting their all into each and every one of these games. So we'll see how Spy and the rest of that squad are able to hold up. We've seen them do it before, though. That's a squad that has handled, little bumps in the road like that in the past. With pretty cool, calm, collected thought. So I'm not too worried about them, right? And this is like we said as well, such a close matchup where it feels like a sub won't have that drastic of an impact, I think, in the outcome of this game. So I think we should still have a good match set up on our hands here, Cookie. I'm looking forward to finding out what map we're going to be going to kick off our MNVL divisionals. We appreciate each and everyone joining us in the chat today. We want to give a quick second to give a shout out to our primary sponsor, which is Version1, guys. V1 has been sponsoring MNVL for quite a bit of time now. They have been, a very valued partner. The bridges that they build into esports, the initiatives that they have going on, and just the giving back that they do at a collegiate and a high school level. Cookie, you have anything you want to say about V1 for a bit?
Oh yeah, version 1 have been nothing but supportive of this league. They pay for all the entry costs of all the players in our Valorant league, so I and the others have not had to pay a cent to play in this league, which is just such an awesome opportunity. And then version 1 continues to offer these amazing opportunities in our Minnesota community with their version 1 community. They just offer all these amazing ways to get into esports, especially in our community. And they also have to go out of their way to somehow cap over all the other esports organizations with their amazing new prismatic jerseys and that awesome
Oh yeah,
purple.
those are dope,
Amazing.
man.
Yeah,
Those are
super
dope.
cool.
And speaking of those New Jerseys, speaking of Version 1, they have a watch party going on tomorrow for their squad who's competing in the Rocket League major in Rotterdam right now, guys. Made it to the semifinal slash finals berth. Version 1 putting in all the work. So love this organization and love having them as a partner. So a big shout out to V1.
Yeah.
And, back to this matchup here, Cookie. This is we're getting into the thick of it. Today's the day, right? It's not the ultimate finals day, right? But this is punching your ticket, right? Fate and destiny is in your hands. You kind of get out of it what you put in. So the squads that are going to rise above, right, are going to show up on today because this is how you kind of build that bridge and set yourself up to carve yourself out a piece of that state tournament, man. It is going to be electric on the maps today, man. I am looking forward to it. AFSA, Totino Grace. This is this is a good one. We've had both these squads. Egg Yolk, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure you have heard that nickname for this Totino Grace squad. That's usually what you hear them going by, honestly. That's been their name since they entered MNVL. And this squad has always been a pretty solid hitter, pretty close up to this AFSA. So, like, this match feels really even going into it.
Yeah, especially with the substitute on the AFSA side, it's going to be interesting to see how they stack up against AFSA. I am pretty sure they've only actually competed against AFSA once last year in the fall, so it's going to be interesting to see how they stack up now in the fall of 2022. They've consistently grown as a team, their players getting constantly higher and higher skills, achieving those higher results over multiple seasons. They've just gotten so much better since the start. In my experience, they've been nothing but respectful and awesome players. They're such an awesome team. It's going to be interesting to see how they stack up against AFSA, who also have been just an amazing team up until this point. Really a highlight usually to see how they do. Spyansky, really highlight player. He's just so amazing. He's got such great mechanics and he's just got the chemistry with that AFSA squad, right? So that chemistry going into games like this where mental needs to be on the right point to really get that punch on your card and go to states in person. They did it last time. They're probably looking to do it again. So we're going to have to see how this plays out. I mean,
For
who do
sure.
you think is going to come out on top here, Skep? Like, really, AFSA's looking really competitive, and so is Totino. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I want to see a full look at Totino's roster, trying to see and remember some of those names off the top of my head. I'm sure I'll kind of see more when we do it in stream notes. Good man. That's on me. Trying to figure out who we got going here. Ah, okay. Okay. So some good names nonetheless here. Spy definitely being that standout though, like you were talking about, and a deep agent pool at that as well. I feel like consistently now when I have shown up and we've casted some of these games, Spy has been on countless different agents, right, getting the job done. And it seems as though that consistent leadership that they've built up at AFSA has kind of run supreme, right? It has come out on top in games that matter. And on a day like today, these are certain games that extremely matter in terms of are you going to make it to the state finals, right? Totino Grace looking to make it there themselves. I don't believe Totino made it for Valorant last season. I if so, I would be mistaken and apologize for that, but I don't believe that's the case. So both of these teams hungry to try to make it there, right? This is going to be a very good opportunity. Still waiting to figure out what map we are heading into, but nonetheless, I'm sure it will get sorted out and we will get into an agent select quite shortly here. Cookie, if you had to pick one map that you wanted to see these two squads duke it out on this early, what would it be and why do you pick it?
Something I'd personally really like to see would I'd have to put my money on Breeze. Breeze is a really mechanical map. I feel like there's a lot of play onto the guns and the way they kind of play around gunplay. Spiancy could really come into a position where he could claim a commanding lead on the game, and Totino are going to have to find a really interesting strategic way to top that. Because the one lacking thing I've seen in Totino's roster is generally a player like Spianski who is super talented and making their name out there and really getting into this esports stuff professionally. So they're really going to have to pull something out of their sleeve in game one here to make it to game two and hopefully to game three for state.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a tough road, right? Nobody has it easy. It's designed to be pretty tough and to kind of figure out who the best two squads in the division are. Multiple teams playing multiple games, unless you kind of did good enough throughout the regular season to get that first round bye that only so few amount of teams did secure. So it's kind of something that you earn over time, and now it's kind of a fight for your spot at this point. It's kind of wipe away how the season went, put it on the line right now, right? All the teamwork, all the communication, playing together, right? The stuff that matters, and having a good mindset and mentality about it are the things that I really think will stand above the rest. Obviously, gunplay and that stuff needs to come through, but those are the basics. This is about kind of separating yourself from the normal and the run of the pack teams.
On your point on mentality, I think taking the start of state as a kind of mental refresh and kind of putting everything that's happened up until this point behind you is a really important step that most teams need to take to really make it to state. Whatever happened during the season, yes, does affect your seed here in this tournament. However, I think it's pretty easy to put that under the rug and finally focus up and kind of keep things mentally in check, right? That mental plays such an important role in games like Valorant where they can games can last for upwards of an hour if you're unlucky, I guess. And keeping that mental right keeps you in the right headspace. And when you're in the right headspace, you're gonna really be able to come into the game and get ingrained in it and really find your focus. And those moments really separate teams who are ready and teams who are just quite not there yet.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. And we are getting over to an agent select map is going to be Icebox. So definitely an interesting one. I personally love Icebox. I think it's a great map. The
I
thing that
love
I want to point
Icebox.
out right away that I am not liking is the chamber hovers. Recent patch came out. Chamber got nerfed to smithereens, and he is no longer the agent that he used to be, and it's not even close. So unless these players believe that the patch hasn't come through or something like that, they're going to be sorely mistaken once we get into it.
Skep, in my experience in the recent patch, I don't think what they did to Chamber plays too much to his gameplay style. I feel that his new teleport system, where instead of having 2 beacons, he has 1 that he can call back to within a certain radius, still plays very well with his kit and still works for him. Obviously, it's going to be nowhere near as strong as in the past when he could teleport between 2 pylons, but yeah, the nerfs that Riot really gave him
Choose
for
your
his
agent.
robot. It's what they did to Killjoy back when she came out. They gave the robots a strict range at which one can control them, and it's really going to limit his flexibility and as to where he can play in relation to his utility. So seeing it come out on both sides of the AFSA Eagles and Totino Grace is a really interesting move this early on in the patch. We don't quite know yet if this nerf is going to be that effective against Chamber, although it's looking it might be that potent.
Yeah, it just definitely downgrades his pick rate and how often you'll be seeing him. He's just no longer as strong of an agent as compared to what he was. So I think it definitely will bump him a little bit out of his position here at the top. But something to point out, Spy on the Raze. So kicking it off on the attacking side here for APSA. And Spy leading the charge on this duelist pick on the Raze, looking to be in first and create those entry points for this squad. Has me very interested, and yep, this is the best way to kind of do it. Wonder showing you guys how to play the new chamber. Obviously, you got to TP up to it and then drop your teleport or gather it back and then drop it back down to the ground if you want to play those up top angles. But it's a lot different now.
Definitely. However,
specific range too of the trademark trip.
In the recent patch, however, one of the things they changed on the teleport is removing a height limit. Chamber can teleport using his pylon at whatever height in relation to his pylon, which is new. In the past, he was only locked to the same ground level as his pylon.
Big opening shot from Spy coming out on the Raze, and now attackers kind of slowing down for the time being, but Sage Wall goes down. Do they cover the planner? No, they don't. Defenders find the second of the round. It's going to be Arcade open it up with the Headhunter now. 4-on-3, making a 4-on-2.
Last player standing.
Up 2. Solus finds another, and now in a 4-on-1 situation, AFSA having no problem taking this site, and it's going to be Spy coming through with the 3K. And it's the APSA Eagles opening up with a 1-0 start to this Icebox game, Cookie.
Like Eagles waiting to pounce on a fish in a lake here in Minnesota, APSA really waited there for the perfect moment to really unleash all of their utility onto site and really get a stranglehold on it. Spyansky really came in there with a 3K to clean up kind of site from all defenders. The utility played a massive role, however, in keeping the rest of the team safe to plant the bomb and to keep going with it.
Yeah, man, it was a nicely played round coming out from the attackers, moved up together, waited until they were tradable, and then really steamrolled those defenders. And now looking aggressively at this A site. They know the defenders don't have best weaponry here, and now wasting no time. Get this push going, but They say if they slow it down just a tad, and now the satchel's out from Raze, and they draw contact into backside. Spy leading the charge in this one. Trades coming through. Attackers find 2. Now in a 4-on-3. Spike plant going down. Cookie, it's getting interesting. AJ finds another. Now in a 4-on-2. Should be able to be cleaned up by AFSA.
AFSA are in a weird position now. They've only got 2 defenders to clean up. Those 2 defenders are playing very safely, of course. I mean, they're playing just around the backside of A here. It's going to be interesting to see if they play upstairs, knowing that there are basically 3 defenders watching there. Although it looks like Toxic is going to be playing into Hell, so AFSA are going to have to anticipate that.
Yeah, Toxic trying to push up.
Last player standing.
How much can he find? Doesn't seem likely that they're going to get any, and that's exactly the case. So AFSA clean up nicely. They find themselves a 2-0 advantage here, and now the bonus round comes out for themselves here on attack. These defenders are going to be able to upgrade to some rifles for their troubles, and desperately looking to get on the board here for Tino Grace. This is where the match either turns nicely or starts to go a little bit south here, Cookie.
Looking at the match so far, AFSA is expected to win their bonus, and most teams are if they're going to win pistol round. However, their decision to not upgrade their rifles and stick with Spectres and potentially even pistols is an interesting choice for sure. You want to make sure to get those rounds that you still have the economy advantage on, instead of just surrendering the bonus for a bonus for the other team who now can afford those rifles and just using your basic guns. However, if they're going to get those gun fights with those thrifty weapons, that's an economic, like, powerhouse kind of situation.
One enemy remaining.
Open it up big. Grape finding 2. Sage finding another, and now Spy up top here in middle map, looking to find an angle. All by his lonesome, gonna drop down after he finds the last. And it's a flawless round coming out for the defenders. They stopped the bonus round from AFSA. Now going to be a full investment coming out from these attackers. Going to be able to upgrade into the rifles. And now for these defenders, you see Wonder Waffle with just a Marshall. So not the best weaponry.
It's definitely a weird economic buy. He has the money for more. He could at least upgrade to a full shield like the rest of his team. However, his decision not to is really puzzling.
That's a miss, in my opinion, big time. We'll see if that comes back to haunt them. Attacker is moving in for a fast A hit. Seems to be on the cards. Boombot getting used to clear out left side of Maze here. Spy in Sky, peeking out towards back rafters. Gonna rip a couple shots through the head top, not quite finding any tags, and now opting to check the flank. Nothing coming about, so attackers stuck. And it seems if Spy's not leading the charge desperately into an attack, most of these AFSA attackers play a pretty standstill game. There's not a lot of movement on the rest of these agents. A lot of caution to peek, and I don't know. We'll see. 50 seconds and running out of time now to get something done here, Cookie. What do you think is going to happen?
It seems pretty apparent to me that AFSA are trying to convince Tino Grace that A site is no longer in their sights. However, they are definitely all still on A site. As you can see, only one defender is playing truly on site here, who does collect something. So it's really probably not going to pan out as well.
Spawns 2 now. Molotov comes down into play. Snakebite, Soulless Duck now running out of time to get this spike plant down. 15 seconds, so defenders trying to retake AFSA down a man. Utility starting to flood into the site. Spy playing up close at Nest. Strong Boy going to start it out, flanking straight out from Toxic. Now defenders flooding into the site. They make it a 4-on-2, make it a 4-on-1. Only Viper remains. Soulless Duck, are you up to the task? You find the first, but it's not going to matter. It's the Tino Grace defenders to retake the site and tie this game up at 2 apiece.
Icebox is a really interesting map to have to play attackers defending a bomb on. When you're going to play on site, you're going to need to make sure that as attackers, you're defending each other's angles. For example, Spy and Sky was playing right there on the other side of green box from bomb. If they really wanted to commit to a play like that, someone needs to be watching his back. He is watching the opposite side. He can't see behind him. So it's confusing to me to see AFSA play these angles where they're not going to be able to play off each other. but apparently they expect to be holding each other's angles quite like aggressively. Spyansky was not expecting to have been left alone there, which is why he committed so hard. So to have been left alone is confusing to me.
Yeah, a bit of a misread coming out. AFSA had the opportunity to get out onto that site. They just lost the important gunfights to kick it off, and now Wonder starting it out strongly. Strong Boy gonna hit the deck. And it's defenders with the man advantage yet again here. AJ Weinhagen setting down some prowlers, trying to push forward onto the site. Has a Spectre all out of util in the span of a few short seconds, and now not a lot to play this retake with, and nobody holding the head top. You can't be
One
serious.
enemy remaining.
AFSA dropping the bag when it matters most. Spy in a 1v4, and that's just something that can't be forgiven.
To be totally honest, that was super poor positioning on the part of AFSA once again. AJ being completely pushed out of the way by Solus Duck to get bombed down was clearly not communicated. He was playing on where Solus wanted to plant, however, when he realized someone was there, he didn't make the effort to change his plan or at least ask for space. And when they came out for those picks, they just were not watching the right angles, did not read where they were going to play. Utility kind of gave some hints as to where they could come out from, but overall just a very, very poor read.
You want to play? Let's play.
And now we see Spy with a Marshall trying to find an early pick for these attackers, trying to get something back into his team's direction. A tour de force is out for these attackers as well. Something to keep your eyes peeled on. Gonna have to break the eye. See Chamber at back belt here. Posted up with the tour. Now, these defenders rotated over towards this site. They should know what is coming their way. Showstopper out for Spy. Is he going to get in range? Rockets out. Not going to quite hit. A little bit of tag damage maybe found, but nothing further.
Good use of the Viper wall to block his sight there. If he had played through that wall to find a pick, he probably would have been picked himself. So overall, that utility going into keeping him alive.
Yep. AJ gonna get taken out early here on this retake, and so far so good. Totino Grace has been money on these retakes. Granted, the weaponry is not looking good for AFSA, but not finding any kills on these re-entries from Totino has me feeling like the communication is just not really flowing as nicely as it should be for AFSA, not knowing where these defenders are retaking from. Cookie.
It's just kind of messy on the side of AFSA. These reads feel backwards. When they're playing slowly, they read fast. When they're playing fast, they read slowly. It just screams illiteracy to me. Spyansky is definitely going to be working hard with his team here to try and communicate things he sees wrong. He is their star player, likely IGL. He is trying to make sure this works out. Currently, Totino Grace have just a stranglehold over these rounds in the economy. They're going to have to find something really within one of these rounds to pull themselves out of their rut.
The thing that sucks for AFSA too is they found the first 2 rounds of the game, and since then it's been a 4-0 run for Totino Grace. They're swinging out hard and long without any utility put down early. They're just not respecting the potential of an operator, and it's Wonder Waffle striking the first blood again. This is something that AFSA have been struggling with. It's dropping a man early and not playing smart off the trade. This time they have Sage Res, but gets sniped down on the Resurrect. Weinhagen dead again. Man lead still in favor of Totino Grace, trying to plant the spike. It's getting tricky here, Cookie.
Ugly. It's just a mess. Where did the timing and utility coordination go from the pistol round? Looking at this, AFSA just appear to be pushing upon their own accord. They're not waiting for Solus's
Spy
vision blocking utility on ultimates like Chamber ults to
down.
confirm safety.
Oh, this wall's gonna secure the round. Spy's gonna drop. It's a 1v5, I think is what it was. No other entry coming out. It's just looking messier and messier as the rounds are going. Right now, it's unraveling. AFSA need to switch something up for themselves here.
AFSA really need to find something to work with. They're just trying things, but those things that they are trying are clearly not coordinated. they're just doing whatever, and then once whatever sticks, which is unlikely, they'll just keep doing that, which will be read again by Totino. This is just messy for AFSA, and it's hard to watch, honestly. From a team who were once a juggernaut, who went to state, this is a messy showing for the first round of Divisionals.
You know, we can't forget the fact that they're playing with a substitute. Definitely will affect a little bit of synergy and such. But here we are on the attacking side, looking into a potential Viper's pit. Spy trying to drop the paint shells in, not quite going to land onto the Viper. Now getting that snake bite down. The Nightfall comes out from Fade. Now Prowler's coming through. Viper near side and not going to be able to see much. And Spy with some excellent marksmanship, firing off through the smoke there and going to drop that. Now the Rolling Thunder coming out from the breach, stunning off a couple of these attackers. But it's AJ from up top pikes to drop Grape off. Now 5v3 situation for the game, starting to look good. But as I say it, it's Wonder to take out Dumb.
Finding good things in this round is coming together for them.
AJ.
Wow.
Two-man spray with that Phantom. Nice control coming out and some life breathed back into this attack half for AFSA.
Totino kind of stepped in there a little bit on that gunfight. Unfortunately, kind of putting them in a position where they were playing in the same exact spot. Kind of let RK collect them both. Overall, that was just a little bit early on the pacing. If it had been a moment later, they could have probably collected a trade there at least. Interesting round though for AFSA Eagle. They've actually found something in this game, so it's probably going to continue working. Let's see what they try for the second time to make it stick.
Early peaks and not respecting it again. I don't know how many times these attackers are going to need to be shot out early without using utility. You know, it's they're just giving free picks over. They're making the game so hard for themselves to play. Down a man now trying to enter a site is like, it makes things that much more critical for every person to get their one, but somebody's going to have to find two. You know, that's just the current state of affairs here. Tour de force out close for this chamber. Is Wonder going to find another? Not scoped in. It's Spy. Testing the waters. The satchel out. Wonder's going on a mad peak here. Will get mollied off. Now coming back to the peak. Spy holding it, and he bests the chamber. Spy really putting on for AFSA right now. Doing everything he can plus some. Spray not going to go down his way. And now almost out of HP. Sage no heal. Things looking grim for this attacking half. Running out of time. 30 seconds. Wall will go up. Spy playing up close at the wall. Spray away from death. Spy pushes into the fray. Will drop first. Now 2v4 situation. Attackers dropping like flies. Spike not going to be planted. And now this one almost locked up. 6-3 lead Totino Grace.
10 seconds left.
You definitely don't want your star player to basically just have to ego peek everybody to get into sites, you know. Teammates really need to be throwing their utility in there. It's like playing CSGO against Overwatch. The abilities are just going to beat you, not out of the fact that you are worse, but simply because the abilities add another layer on top of what is gunplay. So if you're not going to give someone like Spyinski the utility they need to push onto a site, they're just going to be ego peeking and rolling the dice against somebody they should not be losing gunfights against to in the event that they had utility.
Yeah, this is a very tough situation going into this one. Spy buying himself had the ability to be bought by a teammate who had money, and he could have got full shields, but that's not going down. So if they're not even asking each other for buys, I really am curious to figure out what kind of communication is going down on the team, if any. That little bit of HP is the difference between a headshot from a Phantom insta-killing or, you know, you staying alive and being in the round. So 6-3, you have no rounds to lose, nothing else to give over. And here we have it. 6-3 situation. Totino Grace double the rounds here. AFSA need to get something flowing back into their favor. The defender's playing a retake situation here, Cookie. Spike plant going down now.
I mean, looking at this, One thing I'm noticing in Totino's gameplay, actually, is this undying commitment to both sites, which has its positives and negatives. We're not seeing a lot of rotation come out on the side of AFSA, so when they're not rotating, it could also be seen as a lack of assistance to the defenders on A site, and now for the second time, they're going to lose because of a lack of defense.
Trying to hunt down this op, yeah. Spy trying to hunt down the op, gonna take care of the work there. A 3K found for the Rays. And I mean, really leading the charge for these attackers. Getting in first, finding these points of contact, and coming out on top of the gunfights, realizing that if this AFSA squad is going to get something done, it is going to be off the back of his own. So, approaching the final 2 rounds of the half here. AFSA desperately trying to close this gap. We'll have to see what is coming next. It seems to be a quick B hit.
I keep seeing these patterns in the gameplay. These hits all feel very similar. It is just a matter of reading when Totino have defenders on a given site, and they're just going to try to make the same hit work depending on whether or not defenders are there. That is just overall an incompatible way to look at the game. There is so much more to it than this many defender on that site, rush hard, this many defender on that site, rush that. There's so much more complexity in it, and AFSA are just not reading those little things that would change this up for sure.
Oh, big shots from AJ, opening it up for 2, and now AFSA in a 2v3 situation. Now Solus makes it a 2-on-2. Closing back the cards, down to half HP on the fade. Now, this Sage, last alive, feeling to be a common trend here, not peeking out, not helping as much as they potentially should be. Now thrusted into the clutch position. Can you come out on top now when your team needs you most? 35 seconds. Sage peeks out, tags up the fade, down to 1 HP now, but it's toxic to close out the round, and it is Totino Grace to find another one on this defensive half, making it a 7-4 game.
Hydra did a good job there stealing the attention of the attacker to distract them from the fact there was another one still alive playing right around the corner. So when they played out, eventually, when the focus was on the person on top, the person on bottom swung out. Overall, it was messy once again. It's difficult to watch these players take these unnecessary angles where, in reality, they do not need to be peeking defenders that aggressively on their own. They could be waiting for more utility or another player to peek it with them, so at least they can get a trade out.
Yeah, it feels as though that the only way this attack is going to continue to be played is a straight beam forward. AFSA just flooding onto the sites, instantaneously pushing forward, trying to rush a plant down, and now going to get nightfalled. How many going to get lit up by this? Toxic going to find 1. Strong Boy and Spy find themselves 2. And now a favorable position numbers-wise, but last round of the half, almost certainly a Rolling Thunder about to meet these attackers. Let's see if they read it and back up in time.
There.
Rolling Thunder not being used, and they're just pushing out onto the side. I'm really surprised. First one goes over. Grape still has it for use here. Still pushing forward. And I mean, at this point, using it would have just been a round 1.
One enemy remaining.
Now up to a 1-on-1 situation. Hydra versus Spy, and it's Hydra who finds the 3K, shuts down the satchel push out from Spy, and it's an 8-4 half for Totino Grace.
Good read on that with the locking in place kind of ability from Fade to read that Spiansky was going to try and satchel out and catch them off guard on bomb. Really good read, and then good reactions on the bomb. Only 1.42 seconds there of wiggle room, so to have gotten that bomb through is impressive. Going into the half switch now, it's going to be interesting to see if AFSA maybe have something up their sleeve for defense, because if they did for attack and not for defense, this is game over.
Yeah, here we have it. Now on the defender side, so as long as these defenders hold these lines of sights, play off of each other a little bit, they should be able to be all right, but overall, this map doesn't usually fare too well to defenders. Normally, it's very good for attackers. So if Totino Grace can continue to play together and look nice on this attacking half, they might have a very good future ahead of themselves here. AFSA going a very aggressive pistol round start here, pushing up completely behind, so they should know that this hit is coming through A main. Look at Spy's position. Gonna run into the trip, so he's got to be careful. He notes it. He knows it's close. Now Wonder takes out RK, and it's these attackers opening it up here, Cookie, and it's gonna be a plant coming down the way of Totino Grace.
Defenders not really commanding the respect that they deserve on site, instead just choosing to play out and wait for others to rotate onto site. Sometimes that undying commitment to a site needs to somehow amount itself in a kill, even if it trades into a death.
AJ pushing out, gonna find the first. Now defenders trying to reset. They force a 4-4, and now Soulless Duck pushes through, finds 2, making it a winnable round for AFSA. Chamber peeks out from Belt, but it's the defenders who come out huge, and it's AFSA making it a game yet to be played here in the second half.
Well played round with use of numbers and attention being pulled into different places, and attention being lost in others where another defender can play out of and catch others off guard. That's kind of what you're looking for in this kind of situation. When everything else is being read, you just need to find those moments where you're going to be caught off guard, even if that isn't premeditated.
Yeah, man. Overall, really good look from these defenders retaking that site. Everything felt very cohesive and together on that, and that is something that was missing almost the entirety of that attacking half, it felt like. So to see them working together means that they still have some life left in them here for the second half. Spy up close mid and getting this so much information instantaneously for these defenders. Not hearing anything towards B, so these A defenders should be on high alert here. Chamber up close, has the teleport down the rendezvous to get on back to where he needs to be safely, and a Spectre for close range could be deadly. These attackers. There it is. Gets one and TP's on out.
AFSA's doing a really, really good job with player positioning, with Spyansky doing a flank. He gathered so much information as to how aggressively the attackers were playing. And then back on B site, you can see that there's one far player and one up close player. That far player, once it's read that they're aggressively moving A, immediately falls out, while the close player up front stays for just a moment in case there was something misread. It's just overall good positioning and good planning to make sure you can prevent a push onto whatever, and they just keep getting these good holds on sites. Now, going into more rifle rounds, we're going to have to see if they keep that up, because attacking did start off in AFSA's favor, but didn't pan out as so.
Yeah, here we are. A 2-0 start again for AFSA. So this is where they were before, like you said, and now they have to either, find themselves a conversion on this bonus round or just play a lot better on their gun round to follow suit. So we'll see what these defenders can find early. Weaponry not really in their favor, and it seems to be a bit of a B split underway from these attackers. So Viper and Sage going to be up for the task over on this defending side for AFSA. Nice paint shells from Spy. Gonna keep them tucked back. Fade Haunt gonna come out to spot out these mid attackers. Not quite gonna see anything, as you can see. Attackers working over towards Bravo.
AFSA saving the utility for the defense round is definitely interesting, because as you can see, there's a very obvious difference between their gameplay when the utility is coming out in each other's favor versus selfishly, and we can see that AFSA are just dominating these rounds. If AFSA had pulled something together in the first half with this utility, they might be in a much better spot right now to pull this back into their favor.
Yeah, that's a big kill to find onto Spy, evening it up at 4 apiece. And now these attackers setting their sights on B Cookie. But look at the defense. They are stacked in numbers here, and they have a good potential at doing some
30
damage.
seconds left.
Wall goes up, though, and now Strong Boy up close. Can't find anything. Prowler going to spot him out, and somehow finds one through the smoke, gets flanked, but drops the spike from the important one to find. Now, 1v2, Spike goes down. For a second, it's a fake plant. Now, time ticking away, and it's going to be Totino Grace who find their first gun round of this second half.
Grape made an incredible decision there to flank through mid. That catches a lot of defenders on B site off guard. Most of them forget that Undertube is an entrance onto B site, and if it's not kept in control, you lose that entryway, and people can just come and go as they please. Of course, Grape is inevitably collected, and AJ decides to peek out from his safe position when bomb wasn't down. When the timer is that low, someone like AJ should probably not be swinging. He can generally just stay there, and the fact that he's there at all should be enough pressure to stop them from planting immediately.
We have a bit of a B main stack push coming underway for the side of Totino Grace. Look at Spy already completely up mid. He's going to be able to read that a hit is coming in. Soulless Duck with the one-way smoke, going to claim out the Sage, and now claim a man advantage as well, right? This is a 4v5 situation. Now attackers, this is a very familiar spot that AFSA was faced with a lot here on this attacking side.
AFSA really need to prevent anything new coming from Tontino. As we can see on the map, Grape is maybe looking at going through mid again. We'll have to see if he does. Will Spyansky now holding mid find him, and will he be stopped from flanking again?
They do have the trip, but these defenders doing nice work right now. This Viper Duck doing some absolute work. Soulless Duck, not the duck in the toilet that you're used to. The new duck. Raze pushed up mid. Spy shuts down the rotate. Spike claim. Soulless with the 3K.
30 seconds left.
And now only Chamber remains, and Spy surely gonna be able to take care of him. Tucked away is the Chamber, and it's gonna be RK to close out the round. And it's AFSA getting closer and closer to tying this one up, folks. They are making it a game to kick off these divisionals.
AFSA are not going down without a fight. They're really trying to keep themselves in. Soulless Duck has been really coming into form here. He's been getting these 3Ks over the course of the game. He's playing a really vital role right now for the team. His utility use is pretty good and in coordination with the rest of the team. AFSA just need to keep this ball rolling until they can at least even the score. And hopefully they can keep it rolling even past then and win the game. So let's see what Tontino does as a response, because they're not trying really anything crazy right now. They just lacked the picks to really get a foothold onto B last time. So if they're all going to invest in a site like that, they need to find picks like that, which they didn't. So if they're going to try something different, it better not be that.
Yeah, I mean, here we are. Toxic. Only a classic gonna get taken care of. AJ opens up the killing here again for AFSA.
Energetic.
Bring them down.
Yeah, I mean, he's excited about it. He finally found a first blood. It's because he was getting opt and first blooded so much in the first half. Now that he's getting the first blood, he's like, oh, this is what it feels like to be rewarded for first peaks. And Spy gonna add to that tally here, Cookie. It's AFSA up 5-3 in this situation. Okay, the classics at this long range, you're never getting kills like this, okay? Quick Scepter tip. If you're using the free guns, you have to make it like a close peek in some way, shape, or form to give you an advantage. You're not beating rifles. Yeah, you're not beating rifles at a long range with these free pistols. Just something to note. That's all.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, it just... you can't be taking those engagements. People like Hydra with the Sheriff should be taking those long-range engagements. Those long-range engagements, if they're being done by classes, you're just never hitting it. The inherent spread in the gun is just never going to let you get those kills. So it's honestly confusing to see Tontino play as if they have rifles with pistols in a round when they should really probably be playing as one big group. If you've ever seen Fnatic in the full VCT Valorant League, they play their pistol rounds with classics as one large group to try and increase their odds of getting kills with just the sheer amount of pistols on their bodies. So it's interesting to see how Tontino tried to approach it.
Let's play.
Yeah, I mean, so far here, we have seen this lead in this game go back and forth, Cookie, and here we have it. AFSA are one round away from tying this one up at 9 apiece and really delivering on a close matchup. And we said it was going to be a close matchup, and who else but Spy to open up the killing here in such a crucial round, number 17, round 18 that is. Spy from up top, Prowler comes out, Toxic going for the quick plant, but Rolling Thunder to back him up, and his attackers tucked away nicely. Gonna use the Viper's Pit, but Spy finds a way to spray through the smoke and claim one. Toxic hears this reload, doesn't take any shots. There's one away to position, but now Spy's position improves. The push forward, but it's the attackers that find 3.
This Viper ult is really technical. It's in a good spot for all defenders to play around, and overall, it's kind of morphing around the upper parts of mid is generally something you look for
One enemy
because
remaining.
upper angles like that
Oh,
in a Viper pit
Solus.
can be super confusing.
1v1 situation in no time on the clock, so Solus tries to save. It is Totino Grace coming up on a massive round when they absolutely needed to, and now have 2-round advantage over this AFSA squad. I mean, a very good round to find there for Totino Grace, Cookie.
They need to find those rounds if they really want to tie this together. They had such a commanding first half. It would be a shame if they can't pull this together. I am very happy to see someone like Solus actually go out in a situation like that and try to find a pick. Too often in this league do we see players back out way too early when there is still profit to be made in those kinds of rounds. So seeing Solus go in there for a pick, maybe trying to find the other one, even knowing that the bomb was going to go off, is important. And I think it shows that they really understand what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, the attack half is definitely something that takes a lot more time to develop and work on, layers to it. And now this Totino Grace squad trying to find a way to crack open this A site here. Again, dropping the Viper, dropping the utility, and committing the Nightfall. You can see the defenders rushing away to play a retake position instead of losing a couple numbers before the full site take happens. And now Nightfall used early from the fade, gonna silence a lot of these players, and now none of them can actually hear what's going on, so defenders should utilize the timing. But it's great to find 2 on this breach, and it's great utility coming out from the attackers. AFSA completely shut out of the round, Cookie.
AFSA are just being blocked by mechanics
Last
out
player
of any kind
standing.
of entry, any kind of angles to get those little picks. Tontino are just doing a great job with their defensive positioning, not letting people like Spyansky jump over their heads and just collect them. They're in convenient spots where it is just in their favor if you're going to try and kill them. And they really only had to play out there if there was going to be bomb taken. But once the defenders got down in numbers, the bomb was a no threat, so they could just hide out until something threatened them. And they walked away with the round there because of it.
Yeah, man, this is Totino Grace separating themselves from AFSA. It feels like, you know, Spy finding some first bloods in these last couple rounds, and still it not amounting out to being the advantage that these defenders need is kind of sad. You know, they're giving themselves big opportunities, and they're not capitalizing on getting these man advantage up situations. And now Totino Grace have a Sage Resurrection to work off of here. So technically, a 6-man attack coming into a very crucial round, able to put themselves to match point here, Cookie, and things are coming down to the wire in game number 1 of these Mnvl Valorant Divisionals.
If I were Tontino in this situation, I think this round mainly culminates in trying to get a safe site entry, safe bomb plant, and safe win, basically. You want to try and save those ults maybe for the final round to try and confirm your victory. So this round is important in that they need to work with their economy to pull something together in the final round because they can stall.
Cookie, look at this.
Oh boy.
Look at Chamber up close. He's played this spot before, so
You will
let's see
not
if
kill my allies.
Totino Grace remember. Not clearing it hard enough, but somehow RK fluffs the spray. They open up an opportunity for these attackers to get on the site and get it planted. Viper gonna drop surely. AJ thinking
One
about popping
enemy
on the
remaining.
spike quickly. Only one attacker remaining back on the spike, trying to hold for him. And it's gonna be the AFSA Eagles who find a crucial round. And it's Spy and Sky with a 4K on the Rays.
Good round to find there, stopping that momentum from happening. It was interesting to see there the pick on RK. I would have totally expected that to have gone in the way of RK, the way that the defender peaked. However, it shows you that when you have the economy advantage to buy a Bulldog over a Spectre, sometimes it doesn't even matter if you're peaked properly, and that gun can just change the course of events. So keeping that economy in the right spot over the course of the game is one of the most vital parts of pulling something together like this victory that could happen on AFSA Eagles.
I mean, AFSA 1 round away, or rather 2 rounds away from tying up. Totino Grace 1 round away from putting themselves to match point. Both squads on the cusp of kind of getting back to a pretty solid position. And look at Spy. up the middle of the map again. Doesn't actually get shot, but gets shot at. So, will dodge back mid here. Gets stunned up for the time being, but no damage taken. So, he's going to be able to react accordingly. AJ peeks from up top. Spy down low, and now Grape dashing up this tube and taking kitchen position. Will get Prowlered. Can't see a thing, and it's AJ who finds back-to-back for his bloods. Chamber going to find the first shot nicely onto Wonder, and now a 4v3 situation for the defenders, Cookie.
AJ reading there that Grape was not going to get the Prowler down, immediately just forced that aggression on the Breach utility. It seems scary at first, but in a commitment like that where you know your enemy's still going to be at a disadvantage, it's just too worth it not to take advantage of. And it's overall just a really good demonstration of understanding what is happening to your opponent in every situation.
Yeah, lineups coming
One
out.
enemy remaining.
This is getting interesting.
Last
A
player
one-on-one
standing.
coming out. Strong Boy goes for the spray, but can't find it. Again, not coming out on top in the clutch situation. And it's
Match
Toxic
point.
standing tall. And it's Totino Grace finding a 12-9 lead. AFSA, no more mistakes. Otherwise, this one will be dusted up and history. And chances of showing up at state again will be nullified. Strong Boy has to find a way to get in there earlier, because coming out in down to these clutch situations, it's just not happening. So you got to let somebody else be in that position.
Oh yeah, it was just overall, Strong really needed to take the time to get the kill instead of crouch spraying. You know, you can't always, your praise are not always going to be answered. So in that situation, you really got to take the time, be precise, and it can be really daunting, but sometimes taking a moment to take a breath and really focus on where you're shooting is what you need. And you kind of need to isolate yourself from the pressure that's being applied from your opponent.
100%. Positioning was correct, just didn't come down with the spray, and that's a costly round. Spy gonna open up first blood, though. Again, AFSA finding a way to go a man up. Sage no res, so a good position to be in here for AFSA. You know, they have the B stack coming up now. Can they hold this site? They starting to move away, but this Viper wall should draw them straight back, and Strong Boy goes down first. Out in no man's land. 4v4 situation. AJ finds one from up top, though, and that's an important frag. It's the spike dropping, not planted. 30 seconds and counting. Cookie. Winnable round for AFSA, 4v3 situation.
Winnable round for AFSA for
seconds
sure, but they want to try and limit as much collateral damage as coming out right now. All of Totino Grace are really close to their ultimates. These kills do ultimately add towards your total for ultimates. So going into round 12-10, we could see all the ultimates on the side of Totino Grace come out, with the exception of maybe one. So that is going to be really difficult to play against on the side of AFSA, who will basically have none.
Big shots coming out. Great round. AFSA, 3K for AJ. And this squad finds double digits. Now only 2 rounds out from tying this one up. It's been a back and forth game, folks. We have plenty of Valorant action going on through the midday. So make sure you make yourself a lunch, grab some snacks, whatever you need, and get ready, because we have plenty of more games to come. So both these squads trying to figure out a way to put themselves into round number 2. If they were to win this game, they would be taking on Hmong College Prep Academy, folks. That is the team waiting for them, the number 2 seed of the tournament. So both these squads have it cut out for them.
As I mentioned before, we're seeing all the ultimates on the side of Totino Grace. It would be a real waste if they did not try and use those all this round. Those ultimates play a massive role in winning rounds. If they're going to bring this out right now, they could win the game. However, their economy is in shambles. So is it even worth trying with those ultimates if in the end they're going to lose these gunfights even with the ultimate? An ultimate is definitely not going to compensate for the lack of a Vandal.
This is tough. Good openers from the defenders, though. The Viper's pit goes down, but the Spy and Sky nade chips her down to 1 HP. And now AJ opening it up, and there's still some life in this AFSA team here, Cookie. Now a 5-on-1. Chamber's gonna drop, and AFSA are 1 round away from forcing overtime to kick off our divisionals. This would be remarkable for Spy, for AJ, and the rest of this squad to bring this one all the way back.
To bring it through on a substitute is truly impressive. I bet they probably don't have anywhere near the amount of playtime that they do with their regular player. So to bring it this tight and to keep yourselves in the game with a substitute is honestly really impressive. Overall, Totino Grace did end up wasting the Viper's Pit on that round. Honestly, not the best read in the world. They did not have the economy to really pull something together there. Although we still have Fade, Sage, and Breach Ultimate to come out into this round. If they can pull those all together in a really convenient string, they could pull this round together and end this run. Although I'd love to see it go to overtime.
Hey man, an overtime berth would be truly exciting. We are
Off your feet!
figuring out what
Face
is
your
Look
fear!
at how low the money is for some of these attackers. Oh my goodness. No money. It's pistols for these attackers. And as long as these defenders play together.
You want to play? Let's play.
Wait a second.
Spike planted.
They have
Plant
their money.
coming
They
down.
have rifles.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm trolling. I'm
Healing.
trolling. I am trolling. Plant coming down. I was looking at the Twitch,
I'm
man.
too far. I'm too far.
Resurrect coming through. Flank coming through. And attackers trading on both sides. After found themselves in a one-man situation. 1v4. Spy left with it all to do.
Who else to leave in a clutch situation other than your star player Spy? He's pulled out some crazy things before.
not kill my ally.
Chance of res comes through, makes it harder and harder to pull this one back. It's gonna find one. The spray not gonna happen.
Attacker
It's
finds
Wonder
him with
Waffle
the
with a
pink shell.
4K, and it's Totino Grace to close it out. 13-11. My goodness, I got mixed up on my tabs for a second there at the end. But man, what a round coming out for that Totino Grace squad. They find a way to beat that AFSA defense back, where it seemed like AFSA had all the morale, all the momentum coming into that final round. We're desperately looking to push things into an overtime situation, and it doesn't end up coming through. So a very tough loss for the side of AFSA.
They definitely made it close, though. They put up a fight going into that second half. Ultimately, I think it was that dirty attack round that culminated in the fact they couldn't tie it together in defense. If you look at the gameplay, everybody was doing amazing on AFSA. Same with Totino, but sadly, you can't stand in the way of progress because it's moving forever. So Totino continue to prove becoming an even stronger team as time goes on. They're now going into round 2. It's looking bright for them.
Yeah, I mean, you do punch your ticket in round number 2, but you do draw that tough opponent of Hmong College Prep Academy. So, number 2 seed for no joke of a reason, right? They are a very good squad. They're going to be a very tough opponent to beat. Wishing Totino Grace the best of luck in their next matchup. We tip our hats to AFSA, a very valid effort and a good attempt to try to draw that one back. In the end, they fall just a tad bit short. Cookie, it was a treat of a first match. Do you have any final thoughts before we close out on that game number 1?
No, honestly, everybody did amazing. I think Totino are really going to pose a big threat for people in state this year.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see if they can get past their next opponent, folks. We are going to head into a very short break. When we come back, plenty more Mnvl Valorant action on the card. So stay tuned, grab a snack. We'll catch you guys after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys grabbed your breakfast morning snacks because I know that I did, Cookie. I hope you got yours because I mean that game one was it delivered. It was a treat of a game.
Very interesting. AFSA, of course, putting up a good fight against Totino, but Totino ultimately taking the round. We're jumping over to a different bracket right now, right, Skip? Which one are we going to?
I'd have to look through my little note page I got right here next to me. I know we're going to SLP versus SJP all the way up at Group A, folks. So, Group A on League Spot, it is going to be St. John's Prep taking on, I just said it, Spring Lake Park. So, the 8 seed versus the 9 seed, Spring Lake Park coming in at that 8 spot, SJP coming in at the 9. And I mean, we thought game one was an even matchup. I said that you couldn't get a closer matchup to kick it off. Well, I mean, this is a closer matchup and it's following suit. So if game one showed us anything of what two close teams can deliver and put on in terms of a show of a match, Cookie, then I think we have another very good potential for a great game of Valorant here on game number 2.
Oh yeah, with all the teams coming together now, they're probably all getting warmed up, getting really, really ready for these matches. Spring Lake, of course, not having played a game yet. We'll have to see if they're warmed up as much as uh, St. John. I'm sorry. Oh my god. If
Well,
it's going to be their first game of the day, so we'll have to see.
the funny thing is St. John's Prep, their counterpart team did forfeit, so they haven't actually played a warm up game either. So I think both these teams are coming into round
Oh
number 2
yeah.
without having played a match. I think is what the thing is. So win one game and you have a chance. You pretty much make stakes. It's top 2 in the divisions that make it. So a massive opportunity for Spring Lake Park and St. John's Prep. Both teams have literally one game on the line to determine if they make it or if they do not. Cookie, I mean, nerves got to be high going into this match for both these squads.
Both teams are fighting for what is ultimately the gold trophy, which is playing on LAN at MOA Live in January. Both of these teams are really, really they just want to get there. That is ultimately the goal of most teams in this league. There is nothing quite like that experience. Even if you don't win, it's a once in maybe a lifetime opportunity for a lot of these players. So they're working towards it, and this is a high nerve game because it'll make or break that dream for this season.
For sure, right? Your season's work comes down to essentially this one last game, a decider on if you advance into the next round and you play for a champion of your division, or and you punch your ticket to the grand finals, or you kind of fall short at this last step before achieving your kind of season long journey here, Cookie. So it's I'm sure it's a very nerve wracking match. You're thinking about a lot going into it. You're thinking about all the work you've done over the season. You're thinking about your opposition. You're thinking about the matchup, the map. All these little things come down to it. And at the end of the day, it's first to 13, and it's time to get real, get serious with your team, and make it happen. Is the real thing. So, what are you looking for between these two squads, and what map are you kind of looking for?
I really want to see anything but Ascent at this point. I think that
Anything but
would
a send.
provide a really I just got word that we are going to Ascent.
Of
Not
course,
ideal in my opinion, but it's the Mnvl favorite. Generally a very balanced map. Nothing really interesting in its mechanics. We'll
yeah.
have to see how both teams go about that. I hope we at least get something interesting in Agent Select. Try and spice it up a little bit. I want to see something special in this match beyond just basic Ascent default gameplay.
That's the thing is like Ascent is so basic and default as there's not much that can be changed in terms of how you play it. Like, sure, you can switch up the agents here and there, but overall, you're going to get pretty similar results as to other times of playing Ascent. So we'll have to see how this one plays out as we get into Agent Select, folks. St. John's Prep kicking it off on the attacking, or I think we have it backwards. They're swapped. Yep. Spring Lake Park kicking it off on the attacker side. St. John's Prep kicking things off on the defender side. So
We're
what are
definitely
your
getting
thoughts
an
on that?
interesting Pete. Like looking at these picks here, we're getting some interesting stuff already. I'm excited to see Cypher. Cypher has never been a character that has been really overly powerful since beta. He has been very muted, not overly crazy, not bad in any way. And then on the other side, from Clue on St. John's, we might get Breach. And Breach is not a common pick whatsoever. Has never been an ideal character. His kit has never quite clicked. They keep trying to make it work, but I don't think we are in a situation yet where he's quite that amazing. And he locks. We're going to get Breach this game. Breach and Cypher being the two main special picks here. We have
Select
mirror
your agent.
controllers, mirror duelist, and instead of a Sage, we're getting Phoenix. So we're seeing a double duelist comp here, which is going to be really interesting. How it kind of compares against what is an initiator and double sentinel.
That is very interesting. The double duelist is it's not the most common thing on Ascent, but it's not the worst. Like, it definitely can work. I'm interested to see how these squads are going to run their specific compositions, because you have double sentinel taking on double duelist, so we'll see. And they're kind of started on opposite ends of what you would expect them to be on, right? The double duelist is on defense first, and the double sentinel is on attack first. So kind of wrong ends of the shtick for that one.
Both teams going in knowing what side they're going to start on should not make a pick mistake like that. That is kind of influential to how the entire first half of the game goes. So they must have something up their sleeve for second half when they're attackers to really push the envelope of that double duelist. We're going to have to see how buys go here. With most people upgrading to the Ghost, I'm not sure how we're going to see the bonus round fold out. Most of Spring Lake is going bankrupt for this round, which is kind of crazy.
I think you fully invest in pistol rounds. That's always been what I have run and taught. So you buy all in for pistol round, because normally it translates and transitions into a successful round number 2. So no reason to not buy out in pistol round.
That's a fair argument. I do feel in my experience that sometimes at least having a mix of people buying out and people buying not out, you can have a better control over the situation when you have a broader means of approaching problems. When it's a majority of your team, I feel like it could end up being a burden if things go south.
It all depends. We'll have to see. Spring Lake Park approaching this A main position, getting ready to waste no time. About to pounce onto these SJP defenders. Sova up close. Will shoot out the dart to scan. Not going to quite find any tags. Here comes Jet. Dash onto site. Sova gets dropped off first. SJP dropping numbers early. And it's Coolin open up the killing.
Coolin's just ready, getting those entry picks. The energy really comes out the second they're ready. They're playing super slowly. And then, boom, like a bomb. It just immediately blows up into a burst of energy and action.
Great entry points, and now these defenders trying to retake through the tree position. Approaching out quickly, 2 of them reaching. Phoenix already out into the fray. Jinx gonna open up the killing. Chong finds the second, and now it's a 1v4. And Clue left in a tough spot. Finds a beautiful headshot found early. Gonna get spotted by the Haunt, takes care of it, but 3 different players to shoot at, all low HP. If he can pull this one off, it'd be really remarkable. Goes for a tap, finds another one. Clue now left in the one-on-one. Doesn't have the last shot in him. Didn't have the time for the defuse either. But what a great effort coming out from St. John's Prep. Clue. That's unreal.
That was a beautiful flick there. Wow. Yeah, in general, just a good play, good on capitalizing. Just generally beautiful gameplay coming out. We're going to see Guardian come out on the side of SLP. It's an interesting buy, but it'll probably work. Coolin just proved how much of a headshot destroyer they are, so if they do end up sticking with that buy into this round, it's going to be really interesting to see if they can capitalize off its one-hit headshot.
Yeah, you know, very interesting position.
Careful now.
Good pistol round found. You did a lot of damage from Clue, but not a heavy investment coming out. Just some pistols for their troubles on the defense side. as Jinx pushing forward here, going to cam out to kind of check their 6. All 5 attackers here, wasting no time to dash out on site. Spring Lake Park going for it. Clue opens up with the shorty, doesn't actually do any critical damage, and now SLP should have this site pretty cleared up.
Blue using that shorty in the corner there. At least in my experience, the shorty's effective range of less than basically 5 meters makes that cubby almost unusable for the shorty. It seems very appealing. Oh, it's a corner no one basically checks. It's kind of close to the gameplay, but as soon as attackers kind of quickly push onto that catwalk of B site, they just are too far away to do anything effective, and the second you start playing out is the second they notice you and kill you with what is apparent perspectives.
Yeah, the weaponry, not good for the defenders. They find 1 consolation trophy. Jet trying to find some more, but it's not going to happen. It is Spring Lake Park to open up 2-0 here on Ascent. Now it's going to be up to these defenders trying to buy back into this one, trying to buy some rifles, and trying to make a stand up against these attacking 2-0 players right now.
Looks like we're getting full buys on the side of St. John's, but only kind of a mixed buy on the side of Spring Lake. Spring Lake looking to translate that first economic buy in round 2 into kind of maybe a thrifty on round 3. It's an economic strategy to kind of keep in the lead here, to really keep using what you've bought and not really throw it away immediately. It is generally good. A lot of teams can strike back often on round 3, and if you're going to fully invest into that, it could end up being a huge failure.
What a great shot coming out from Workaholic. Gonna absolutely drop Jet off. And now a 1-man advantage for the side of Spring Lake Park. These attackers don't have the best weaponry, but up a man could be favorable positioning. That Guardian still very deadly. If you can find the headshot, which they do, and now rotating back through middle map. Spring Lake Park SJP misreading this one defensively. Now trying to react and rotate back over, but Spring Lake Park already have this split play up catwalk, and now the upgrade from Jet will get taken out from Omen. The site is open here, Cookie.
Control is in the side of the attackers on A site. We're gonna have to see how this pans out here. Most of the defenders are still hiding back in tree or in heaven, so nothing's being played out yet.
Last player standing.
Shots coming in. Everyone's going crazy. I mean, you know, in those quick retakes, when Spike Plant doesn't actually fully come through, it comes down to one push where the defenders just fully commit to it. They push out through tree door, they push out through heaven, and they absolutely take out the attackers. So they come through on their buy round, but now money looking kind of lackluster on the side of the defenders, whereas attackers have a full buy here, Cookie.
Looks like we're going to see buys sweep through. St. John's are going to take a player without full shields. Shields are very influential. Even if you have a rifle, having shields can really make a difference in a gunfight. If you just simply cannot take as many hits as your opponent, you're bound to lose that fight. So oftentimes, a lot of players will sacrifice a rifle for that shield. It's interesting to see them commit with the rifle, however, when one of their teammates could have probably afforded a buy there and still been in the same economic situation.
It's a big opening kill from Cool. SLP finding opening weaknesses in this SJP defense. This Jet going down again, and it's Coolin taking full advantage of that, and it's a fully open A site here.
Planted.
The breach utility really works through that tree area. The utility going through the walls can work wonders against that on the side of generator. It's useful to be able to pick at those people you can't immediately check without directly peeking them. So it's very interesting to see how they're using that breach utility.
And so far, so good. This Spring Lake Park squad has a game plan, and they're sticking to it. Killhaven up top here, trying to draw out some economy damage, trying to take a couple of weapons back, but in the end, gonna be another round ticking over for the side of Spring Lake Park, who find themselves up 3-1 after 4 here early, and have been getting off to a pretty commanding start here on Ascent, I would say.
Yeah, overall, they've had dominance over the last couple rounds. Going into round, I think that's 5. We are going to have to see how things go for the rest of the half. this is half of half. So basically, St. John's needs to find a few rounds. I think ideally to create kind of a buffer between them and Spring Lake when half switches, because when half switches, you want to not lose immediately off the pistol round. Pistol round can usually translate into either 2 or 0 rounds won. So if 2 rounds are immediately found on you, and those 2 rounds are your downfall, that is a really risky time to be playing the game.
St. John's prep. You have your breach right there for the stun. You just peek early, so your defense completely unravels before the round can even start up. It's just kind of lackluster play coming out, you know, not playing off one another, and it's going to cost them. Site completely open. Spring Lake Park. Feed to the city. Feed to the B site.
They're playing some really interesting angles there, especially 24 on top of the green box on site. It's definitely going to catch whatever defender plays onto that site really off guard. You don't usually expect to people sit on top of there. They usually play around sites or around corners or in positions where they are hidden. So to be playing that aggressively, that high up, is going to throw off some people's crosshairs for sure.
Man, oh man, Spring Lake Park with the flawless round number 5 here, Cookie, really showing up on this attacking half. And right now, I'm getting a little bit nervous for the side of SJP. These have been really dominant rounds being shown from Spring Lake Park so far. And they haven't really shown reason to be slowed down yet. SJP really need to start playing better together if they want to bring this one back.
Yeah, St. John's need to work a little on their player positioning. Looking at it right now, they seem pretty indecisive on the map, with players just kind of playing wherever. They need to play into their agent's strengths on given sites. You cannot play all agents on all sites, just out of the means that some of their abilities work better on other sites. So to see such a mixed match in terms of agents per site, it's confusing.
Look at SJP. Jet going crazy over here, going for those updraft peaks, but he gets punished. Somehow Cooling comes out on top of that gunfight. Breach ultimate comes through, causes a ruckus on site here. Spring Lake Park, now even in numbers, Cooling here steps above him. Now gives away his position. Chong finds another. 4v3 situation. Spring Lake Park with the man advantage. Cooling adds to the tally. Phoenix up close, and that is another round added to Spring Lake Park.
Overall unawareness in Heaven there led to Coolin just swinging out and claiming something, and then Gunplay just played for the rest of it. Even in these engagements that aren't necessarily very crazy, they're just winning those gunfights, and when you win the gunfights, you get the people advantage. When you have the people advantage, you can basically plant spike, do whatever you want, maybe have a coffee while you're at it, and then, or if we're on a scent, some gelato. And now we're just going to have to see how St. John's plan on countering any of this stuff. The gunplay clearly isn't happening, so they're going to have to find some strategic hole here in their game.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, right, Cookie? This has been a pretty deliberate stopping so far from these attackers. Here we have Phoenix trying to shut down an early push. Spring Lake Park continuing to add to the tally. It is Coolin, it's Chung, it's a 5-on-1, and it's Stacks here left with no weapon, no allies, and almost no HP. Another flawless round flowing over to Spring Lake Park. And St. John's Prep, I mean, they gotta wake up. They gotta smell the coffee. This is a state opportunity on their fingertips, and right now, it feels like it's getting squandered.
Yeah, overall, it doesn't feel like the investment mentally is going into this game that really needs to be there. If they really want to make it into that final stage, really get to state, they're going to have to put so much more effort into this than I'm seeing currently, because right now, this feels like a game of unrated to me personally.
I mean, right now, you know, just not waiting for a teammate's utility, not peeking off of one another. It feels really disorganized, that's all. Gotta play better than that if you want a chance at making Mnvl Valorant land, and here it is, Coolin, open it up, first blood again. Spring Lake Park cannot be stopped right now on these entries.
Got him.
Overall, clean. They were not expecting Coolin to be playing that aggressively. However, they've been pushing that aggressively up until this point nearly every single round, so it still confuses me that they're not reading that.
Coolin On for the ace, not gonna happen as Fade takes out the last. A 7-1 advantage. Only one player drops. I mean, right now, this is just unprecedented. The amount of work that this Spring Lake Park team is doing. This is Valorant Divisionals, Cookie.
Spring Lake Park are just working to get what they want, and St. John's is not putting a lot of energy against that. I think, in general, you can see that Spring Lake Park are just pushing really hard. They clearly want this. They're working hard to get it. But St. John's, meanwhile, they're probably working very hard. It's simply that they just aren't putting in the amount of thought and effort that needs to be in some of these rounds.
I'd agree with you, but they stacked something. They did something different. St. John's Prep tried to even the cards out in their favor. A res coming out in mid. Stillhaven finds the first, but safer now. Hunter's Fury comes out. They pick her off from mid. Now shots coming out from the catwalk position. 2 players there, but somehow it's Spring Lake Park to come out with all the kills. And now a 3-on-1. And somehow, some way, Spring Lake Park find a way to punch the round back into their favor here, Cookie.
Choking on what was supposed to be their chicken dinner, you know, like in a situation like that from the game before, you got to take those moments to breathe, really focus your shot. But when you spray and pray, your prayers aren't always answered, so you're just going to end up losing that gunfight to the fact that you need to put in a moment to breathe before you start shooting and frantically try and hit those shots.
One enemy remaining.
It's an unfortunate position, but take the most out of it what you can. Phoenix comes in and finds a 1v3 clutch round for St. John's Prep. This is the most like this team has had this game, and it comes off the back of the Phoenix.
Yeah, the Spring Lake Park didn't play that very well. When they both played backside, it was kind of a predictable move. However, if both players played both sides, it would have forced the defender to have to check both sides. And when you have to, and in backside they're on B, to check one, you gotta subject yourself to the other. So playing that could have worked. However, it didn't, because they played in front of each other and basically played the same spot, so they could clear it for free. It's a 2-for-1 deal here.
Yeah, ended up not being the best of moves, best way to play it, but
Face your fear!
have a major round advantage as it stands. So 7-2 situation. It's attacks to open up. 7-2. Right now, attackers down a man though in this one, so a tough situation to be in. Nightfall used, and now up against 2 ultimates, making this retake very possible for these defenders. There's the first Phoenix coming out, the Rolling Thunder to follow, stunned up, cooling, going crazy with the updrafts, freaking out, honestly, is what that seemed like. And now it's a 4-on-1 situation. Workaholic left with it all to do. It's not going to happen, and it's 2 rounds strung together for St. John's Prep.
Perfect timing on the breach ult. Right as Phoenix started playing out, the breach ult came out, and that completely threw Coolio off. They were not expecting that to be launched in the air so violently and to be concussed. There was no way that they were going to get away with peeking that Phoenix so aggressively right off the bat. So to see that kind of utility coordination come out, where the ultimate is really helping some other ultimate, is what we want to see here in Mnvl. That kind of collaboration is what separates this esport from just playing the game regularly.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And here we have it. 7-3. 2 rounds left in the half. I mean, with luck, St. John's Prep could string together 2 rounds here and make it a 7-5 half and give themselves a real fair shot at drawing it back here come second half. Phoenix pushes in, no flash, and gets punished. Yes, finds the Sage, but in the end will go down. And now a fast blitz through A market. Coolin takes contact, but then tucks away. 2 up next, and you find more. A good flash for Lane, finds the first. 2 more to follow, and Clue finds all 3. What marksmanship showing through from the breach.
Amazing marksmanship and perfect use of the breach utility to go through those walls. We talked about this before in some earlier streams. Ascent is very potent to wall bangs, and basically Breach's entire kit revolves around shooting things through walls. So to have utility go through walls and to have that kind of effect on enemy players, he played that perfectly, where his positioning right below Catwalk there made him very difficult to see before the flash came out, and then his excellent marksmanship just collected all the heads of the attackers.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it there. The potential for this SJP squad to shine through and play good Valorant is completely there. Production showing us that Spike needs to be gathered. Attackers just keeping it in a safe little spot for now.
You know, leaving Spike behind like that is sometimes a smart strategy. When you leave it behind like that, it gives you an opportunity not to lose it too deep onto site if you invest too hard. Clearly, Spring Lake Park have decided that A site is what they want to invest in, which is why they picked up Spike now.
From Jet, though. Positioning different spot. They're not ready for the peak. It's Jet to open up the killing here. Attackers, though, quickly coming up A main, not wasting any time, and looking to dash out. Spring Lake Park love a fast hit. They have not gone slow, I think, once when they decide to hit the site.
No shortage of utility.
Yeah, all the utility in the world. It just comes out like flood.
Yeah, and then it just steals your attention. You can't do anything about it.
Last player standing.
Ooh, and they're not ready for the utility. And just like that, it is St. John's Prep to find 5-7 on the half. So they do a great job. And I think they get 4 out of the last 5 rounds, if I'm not mistaken.
I am pretty sure.
Switching sides.
Great way to close out the half.
Definitely, definitely. It's now going into halftime here, 5-7. It's
Right there.
going to seem like a mountain to climb, but I'm sure that St. John's could probably pull something out here. Their gameplay really suggests that they have just been warming up this whole time and now are really getting into action. I think St. John's is starting to work better at countering what SLP is doing. So I'm interested to see how things shake up as halftime comes.
Yeah, very interesting spot to be in. 4 unanswered rounds here for St. John's Prep now as they shift over to the attacking side. We saw a lot of very fast hits come out for this SLP squad. Can St. John's Prep either mimic or show us a different level to this attacking half here on Ascent? And that smoke's interesting because Jet can peek right through it. Kuhn will get punished for it though. And now attackers with the man advantage. Invade stunned up. Who has a chance to peek through and get the timing. Doesn't peek out in time though.
Attackers trying to take a note out of Spring Lake's book, playing very similarly.
Spike down A.
Here we have it. The push out coming through. Clue trying to find the first shots here. Ghost in hand. Jumping up towards heaven. Trying to split on and take this A site. One player Dice, one player underneath this hell position. It's Chong, last alive. It's a 1v2. Clue plus Breach. And they're not sure that hell is safe. And now Clue knows it. Tag plus the headshot. Good shots coming out from the Breach. It's going to be a 6-7 start.
Looks very interesting here. It's going to be 6-7. If they can claim this round, we're going half. So if we're even on score, it's basically a rush to the end, and it could go either way. I think the economies are going to eventually balance out here, and it's going to come down to those basic mechanics where we're not really focusing on the economy anymore or what round it really is, and more on the fact that SLP, for example, might be doing better strategically.
I mean, SLP trying to read this defensively in a fast dash play up A main. They are wasting no time to flank these SJP attackers, and they are going to find out very quickly. Omen should be hearing these steps in just a moment. He's about to figure it out. Yep. Oh, yep.
Spike
Spawn
down
behind.
B.
He's calling it, and he's going to be able to peek to his left here in a couple seconds and catch these players. Unless he misses the timing. Missed 1, missed 2, and he's not peeking at all so far.
On my way.
And Omen let all 3 pass, so I don't know what he's doing because he's missed an opportunity. That's for sure.
Omen's living for sure. He's not really doing anything proactive. I don't think anything's going to happen back there anymore. It's about time he surrender that angle and start doing something.
It's unlucky. A blind coming through late, but now, I mean, he just could have lost some of his teammates in that time frame. That's all. but they're not actually pushing out on time here. Jet gonna shut down the first, and it's gonna be a quick cleanup, and it's gonna be St. John's Prep taking care of business again on another big round. So they tie this one up at 7 apiece. I mean, it's just curious to me because Omen heard all three stepping, so like he should have peeked it. That's all. Should have peeked it.
Yeah, definitely. Just should have peeked it. He missed opportunity. Missed opportunity. It's have now. SLP have the buy here with the rifles, although we're seeing a mixed buy on the side of St. John's. We'll have to see if those guns play as big of a role as we think it will into this round. If SLP can bring it to round 8, maybe they bring it to round 9, and if they can get 2 in a row here, they're pretty locked in to get it into double digits at least.
Fast push coming out. Jinx opens up the kill in early for the side of St. John's Prep. Their defense has been lights out so far. But Phoenix trades one back with the ultimate usage. Now a 4-on-4 situation. Cypher tucked on site, and now Jet out towards mid. Has to be careful because these attackers seem to be rotating over towards B here. But it might be a ploy as we see Spike start to creep back towards A main. Jinx up close and ready first to nice flick headshot will take care of one. Now a 3-on-3 situation as these attackers try to blitz onto this A site. I meant Spring Lake Park defense. Yeah, I'm trolling.
Spring Lake Park is divided up for sure. They need to play more together here. Power and numbers, they really need to collectivize and just work at killing these people as a group.
And initiate coming down. Coolin finds the first. Spike plant canceled. And look at that positioning from Coolin. Jumps to top generator. And now Omen left in spawn.
30 seconds
They should have
left.
heard him though off those steps. So maybe not though. I have the timing necessary. I was like 8. Not able to get it.
I'm continuing tough for sure. Should probably not have played that quickly, that loud. It seems like they hadn't heard, but I am under the impression that they probably understood where he was already. Making increased amounts of sound when you're in a clutch situation like that is not what you want to try to be doing. You want to have an element of surprise. So seeing the Omen make such a confusing play again is definitely interesting. It's hurting St. John's a little bit that this guy is getting into these clutch situations.
Yeah, some people struggle a little bit more than the most when it comes down to certain clutch situations, especially if you're a little bit newer of a player. But right now, St. John's Prep, they brought it back within one. Trying to pull up towards mid, but it's Coolin to open it up again for SLP. Their star player on that first half, starting to light it up here on the second half. So definitely something to watch out for. SJP are now down a man and trying to approach through this market position.
Not ready yet. Cover going out.
Really putting their force through mid here. They're trying to like keep this mid control.
Oh my goodness. Coolin through smoke for a 3K? Is that serious, man?
So embarrassing.
How does that happen?
It happens when you all stand in the same position. If you're all walking in a single file line like it's kindergarten, if somebody finds you through a smoke and just holds the button, they're gonna find all of you. And if they find all of you, that is unfortunate. You should not be playing that close together. That could have been so much more with that control in mid, but in the end, if you're all gonna play too slowly to get into a proper position and then all stand in the same spot to get mowed down by somebody on an angle you can't even see, it's unfortunate.
That seems a bit absurd that one came through. Coolin absolutely going guns blazing here for the side of Spring Lake Park and really starting to separate his squad. SJP down 2 rounds and now needing to pull something back into their favor. Coolin has been going crazy with this Phantom though. Prepping the dash. Getting ready to fight at A main. And a quick dink onto Jet and it's going to send him running. That one hurt.
If Coolin had been rocking a Vandal there, that would have been easily a blood. But what do you think, Skep? Do you think that a Vandal in that situation, even though you might not be comfortable with it, would have been just the better choice for someone like Coolin?
It depends. I mean, he's been using Phantom all game, so I don't really expect him to switch to the Vandal at this point, clearly showing that it's a weapon preference for himself. Because normally, yes, Jet is running Vandal. Here we go, up close. Gang
Spike down,
Yang not getting peeked. This Omen, can he find another? That would be a bit crazy. Gonna
One
TP
enemy
out,
remaining.
shadow step. Jet finds another, cool up close, gets tagged with the dart. And now another shadow step. It's Spring Lake Park really starting to step it up here in half number 2.
Yeah, going into half here, they're really stepping up. They're into double digits now. So to tie it up, they're just going to have to find rounds basically at minimum every other round. If they can find one every other round or even once every 2 rounds, they've got this pretty much secured. I think Spring Lake just need to do a good job of making sure that they're not doing anything stupid and just cleaning up the gameplay in general, because they've proven throughout this game that they are just generally superior.
Yeah, so far things have been looking better and on the come up here for Spring Lake Park. I think for the side of SJP, they got to get back to what was working. They got to be able to find some opening picks. They got to be able to play off of their utility usage and let it open up from there. But look at this. Already a 4-man rotation over to this B site. Jet already at top mid. They know it's not a main at all due to this Jet's positioning. And now, I mean, a perfect spot to be lined up and set up
Scanning ahead.
over here at B site. Running into
They're
a
waiting
complete stack.
They're waiting to really get the utility down there. That pause, everybody got their utility ready, and the second the IGL probably said go, it all came out. And we're seeing the result of that as they're coming out here. It's generally working very well.
Yeah, Clue and Satax, all that are left here. Both of them noted in their position.
30
Jet
seconds
peeks
left.
out. Clue tries
Spike
to
is
take
here.
a couple peeks as well, but Spike is down up lane. This is not an easy retake whatsoever. HP bars are low. Jet
Camera taken out.
thinking about
Last
going out.
player
Clue leads the
standing.
charge. Jet still not moving. It's a 2-on-1 position. They're running out of time. 10 seconds and counting. Can SJP find this clutch round? And they do it. They find a way to make the 2v2 happen. SJP are not out of this one yet.
SJP find that round. Now they're both running good economies. Now that they're on good economies, we're seeing the op come out on their side. It's... Oh, never mind. The op is not coming out. I think a lot of teams in this league, and especially in this game, could benefit from an operator. In general, the stopping power of the operator on a site would stop some of these heavy utility pushes if you can at least collect one with it. So we'll have to see how that evolves as the game goes on into these closing stages.
Yeah, you know, some
Come on,
attack
let's go!
help the out, some don't. And there's a Phoenix ulti getting shut down immediately. No team play close with that. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. SJP not burning their utility together, and that's just the difference that we've seen between these two teams alone. I mean, that alone can be a difference maker throughout the entirety of the game. If you pop Phoenix ulti and you have a bunch of utility come out to back it up so he's able to run out onto the site, then maybe he can get something done. But when there's no follow-up, how are you supposed to get anything done off the back of the Phoenix ulti?
Yeah. In general, you can see the difference in that utility usage from the last round, right? That pause and then heavy utility splash really made a difference in their gameplay. So seeing that not come out again is kind of confusing. I'm still interested in the fact that they're kind of dividing up their forces. That's not how you should be approaching an enemy like Spring Lake. Spring Lake, they have that kind of firepower that you need to combat with
30
as many
seconds
people as
left.
possible. So to be
They're
dividing up
faking the
and
defense. They're faking the defense, and look, it's working. A full rotate coming out. Sage completely rotating over. A sight given over. Granted, this is a 4-on-5 situation. Omen's getting flanked. Has Omen ultimate to get out of here. They realize that it's an A hit, and now nobody near Omen. So Omen should pop his ultimate and TP over here, right? He's doing so now. Where's he teleporting to? He canceled. So he teleported in a bad spot. Now he's stuck out here. Tax finds the first. Now it's a 3-on-4 situation. Spring Lake Park
Player standing.
up men, up weapons. And where is the Omen? not in the play again, coming in costly. In Spring Lake Park,
Healing.
rising above, SJP are running out of opportunities, man.
This Omen, personally to me, feels a little head in the clouds. That ultimate should have been done in a much safer spot in which it wouldn't have forced them to cancel. Maybe you wouldn't even have to have used that ultimate. They were in a pretty safe spot for most of the round. Once the defenders had fallen off, maybe they could have gone for a flank. That could have been unpredictable. If you had faked the ultimate, maybe they would have been convinced you did do what they were planning to do, and then the flank would have been even more effective.
Omen needed to teleport into wine or B main or A
Get out of
main.
my
Just
way.
watch and play with this team and play for the spike. Didn't do it. Tried to ulti aggressive. Way too late. They had already rotated in. It's just poor play. SJP are in a tough spot. Spring Lake Park now 1 round away from finding match point, and it doesn't get any easier. A path directly to the state championship, and SJP are running out of chances. Might be a year of spectating for Valorant, trying to get better and learning from mistakes, because some of the mistakes that are being made are frankly, undeserving of playing at state.
Yeah, that's definitely been showing for this whole game. I think there's evidence showing that one team is more deserving of a state's run, and that's definitely Spring Lake. I feel like Spring Lake have been generally showing that mechanically they're there, mentally they're there, strategically they're there, while St. John's is just kind of like, they're there some rounds, and then other rounds they choose not to be, and that's not the kind of consistency you need to be a state's runner.
And we'll have to see how it pans out. Still a few rounds to play with here. St. John's Prep need to get it online right away, though. Trying to
30
split through
seconds
this
left.
B main market position. Rolling Thunder comes out. A chance to push through. They got to get onto site. They got to protect this spike planner. They're fighting a war on 2 fronts. They're going towards CT. They're going towards the
Spike
site.
down.
They don't take the
One
site.
enemy
And in
remaining.
the end, it's going to cost them. St. John's Prep, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Match
Bad
point.
awareness.
You need
It's
to go
just
to
bad
site.
awareness.
You need to fight the site defender. You need to get the spike planted. You are fighting and spawn for what reason? You are losing your chance of making it to the big day. That is what is going on. So right now, SLP almost have this one locked up. Money's not looking good. No buy on Clue. Barely a buy on the Phoenix. Omen might as well swap weapons with the Breach. And Spring Lake Park 1 round away from closing this one out.
Just disappointing showing there. That was just poor understanding. You should never expect to leave the bomb alone like that and get away with it. Something needs to be there to prevent that, either if that's like a Killjoy turret or a person, and that's just a difficult showing from them. I think going into this last round here, the economy shows that Spring Lake are pretty in favor for this round, but I'm pretty confident that there might be a St. John's upset this round.
Let's see. JP trying to push out onto the site now. A little upset, a little bit ticked off, and they're trying to play a little bit better. And right now, it's showing through. They're having one of their best rounds they've had in a bit. Sage gonna find one, has the Resurrect available, so SJP have to play smart here. 4v2 situation, but Yang finds 2! Now it's a 2v2! Make it a 3v2. The res comes out, and what looked so good could fall to Ash here. Omen ulting into Wine. Perfect spot for an Omen
Last
ult.
player
Haven
standing.
finds the first, gets traded out, and that's the game. That's gonna
That's
do it.
game.
Pack it up. No shot of pulling up and compete in that state. Spring Lake Park are gonna take that reward, and they're gonna close
Defenders
out
win.
round number 2 and send St. John's Prep packing. Man, that was a set, huh? That was something.
Oof.
Back and forth, what seemed to be a very close match and very, very good opportunity. St. John's Prep falling short, man. The play was not sound at the end. A little bit of just not realizing the moment, man. Not realizing what is on the line and what is to play for. Everything that you've worked for all season long comes down to this match. And to kind of just be on that miscommunication, it feels a bit sad. And I'm sure, as a team, they're struggling with that too. So we'll definitely realize with them too. It is what it is. They lose the most out of it, but a good effort in the end. And it's Spring Lake Park who show a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. The points it seemed really bright, but then at others it just seemed so dim. I think there's definitely stuff to be worked on there, but the future's bright, right? There's always another season. You've got time to work on this stuff until next season. I'm confident that they'll come back from this even stronger. It's these showings that in the end choose your pathing, and right now their path still needs a little work, but I'm confident they'll get there eventually.
Yeah, it's just tough. You know, that last round we were talking about, they had the opportunity to take that site when they had it. Sova had the right idea. He's trying to drone a path into the site for St. John's Prep, but 2 or 3 of their players are pushing into CT into that spawn position instead of taking that B site and supporting the Sova. And in the end, they don't end up getting that spike to site. And that is the reason they are losing some rounds. It is a complete miscommunication, complete fighting 2 different fronts of a fight. And that's just not the way to play. So it cost them the most. St. John's Prep, we appreciate showing up, trying to compete. But in the end, it is Spring Lake Park who come out on top and punch their ticket into the finals of their divisionals. Folks, I want to take a quick second to give a shout out to our primary sponsor, VERSION1. They are the primary sponsor here for our Valorant portion at Mnvl. Guys, what they do and what they provide for the scholastics opportunities in esports is unprecedented. They pay for all the registration fees for our players here at Mnvl. We get the opportunity to have these guys play for free. I mean, it's a blessing of an opportunity. I want to talk a little bit about the initiatives VERSION1's got going on. Vibe Squad, a great opportunity to get your foot into the esports scene. You help work some live events. And speaking of live events, I mean, VERSION1 are having a watch party at their HQ tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, Rocket League Rotterdam Major. So be there. I'm trying to show up. I mean, I'm not sure yet if that's a fact. So, we'll see if that's real. But Cookie, you got anything you want to say about V1 before we head to break?
V1's been such an awesome sponsor, like you said, funding all the entries for every player in this Valorant League. Uh, their Minnesota Rocker, amazing. They've got their home series here in Minnesota coming up in
Yep.
2023. Also, I'd like to shout out their new jerseys. Oh my God,
Yep.
the Rocker and the new Prismatic jerseys. Oh my God, I'm in love. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
V1 just continue to triumph with those jerseys, man.
100% V1, best of the best. All of that information, guys, available at version1.gg. So go check that out for yourself. When we come back, folks, another game of MNVL Valorant. Stay tuned. We'll catch you guys after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Valorant Divisional Finals here at Mnvl. This is a Saturday stream. Not normal for the Mnvl calendar, but it has been a very fun day nonetheless. Some great Valorant games delivered. We just had St. John's Prep in Spring Lake Park taken on the map of Ascent, the Mnvl Classic Cookie. It was a pretty close back and forth match for the most part, but in the end, it was Spring Lake Park who stood a little bit taller on the day.
Yeah, it was generally a very back and forth game, but in the end, it went one way, and Spring Lake moved on in that situation. I think that overall, it could have gone both ways. Ended up going one way, so that's just how it is sometimes, right? Going into
Yep.
this game, however, what's the matchup, Skep?
Man, dude, this is considered an MNVL classic at this point. We've had this one each season of the MNVL Valorant League so far, and each season it has delivered as one of the tightest, most, competitive matchups that we've had. St. Louis Park taking on Minnetonka, usually a 3 and a 4 seed or a 2 and a 3 seed amongst the Valorant power rankings, if you will. And realistically, a very close on paper matchup, right? You have a lot of skill expression being shown. You have a lot of team practice and coordination going into this one. And as of recency, Minnetonka has gotten the better of SLP, whereas SLP previously was getting the better of them. So I'd say overall it's about even right now, Cookie. And I mean, you just heard about our map that we're going into. Would you like to shed some light to our viewers onto where we are
We
headed for this
we
finals of
are
our divisionals?
I'm so excited to say this. We are going to Haven. God, yes, we're going to not Ascent. Haven is such an interesting map. I love Haven. With the three site dynamic, it changes the game a lot, and I'm interested to see how both these amazing squads play with that. It's
For
really
sure.
gonna channel like, oh my god, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, man. Haven's so interesting because, you add a complete other bomb site into the mix. You add that third site of C. I mean, it's another alleyway of defense necessary. It's another alleyway of potential attacking schemes and plans. So, overall, it provides a lot of hype moments, right? A lot of clutches, a lot of retakes, and a lot of big play potential on this map, Cookie. I think both these teams are going to thrive on a map like Haven.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It's super skill based. Generally, I love to see the top teams come out on Haven. There's nothing more interesting than seeing these top four teams go to Haven. The agent picks can vary so much. The way they play with utility works so nicely, and I think we're going to have a really interesting matchup today. Are you looking for anything in particular, Skep?
The main thing that I want to see is how these top squads are utilizing and playing the game post chamber nerfs, because I really do think that's going to shift a lot of the meta that we're going to see come state finals, right? Granted, this isn't finals yet, but both these squads are guaranteed going to be playing come finals day. And I think that it's just going to be a very highlight and a big matchup to look back on getting ready for state this season. So, I want to see. I honestly, I personally don't think there's going to be chamber picked on either team. That's what I'm expecting. If so, I will be surprised. We'll have to see, but that's just my take. So, what about yourself, Cookie?
I don't know. I'm interesting to see kind of what controller comes out. I've noticed that in their league, a lot of the picks are kind of shifting towards characters like Astra, which I'm surprised about personally because in my mind, the only map I would consider running Astra on would probably be Pearl. Um, Astra has really good potential in maps like Haven because of the global smokes. If you can smoke globally, you have a lot of control over the game, no matter where the attackers are going and where the defender is. So characters like that can play a huge role. But then there are also agents like Brimstone who have a very similar mechanic, maybe not to the same extreme, but their utility can play more of an influence. So a lot of these controllers, I'd like to see what each of these squads picks, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's not a mirror matchup.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to team play and style of play, because different controllers provide different avenues and options to playing the game. I think that, man, with a matchup like this, I think we are going to get two different looks, because these are two different high level teams here at MNVL that are working all the time, right? And constantly developing new ways of playing the game. So I realistically think that it's going to be a different look from both squads, but I think both squads are going to have some advantages given their compositions. Cookie, we are getting into our grand finals. Agent select for this Mnvl Divisionals. Man, I am ready to go,
Oh
and I
my.
hope you guys are too. And these are some fast lock-ins coming out, and my goodness, we're getting a chamber, and it's coming out from Minnetonka.
Wow, that was a fast chamber select. I would have expected a little more hesitation on whether or not to run this recently completely demolished character. We're also seeing a mirror match of Omen. Not what I expected. Omen, of course, being very, very useful. Very good character. The blind works very well. The smokes are reliable, and they keep coming. They're never dry. This is going to be an interesting match for sure. Breach coming out. Breach is very good on this map. Long straightaways can be very good for Breach with his utility. He can kind of knock up down those entire hallways, which can throw an entire team off guard very quickly.
Man, this is a treat of a match. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are ready because I sure am. St. Louis Park taking on Minnetonka. Top 4 teams coming at you right now.
This is going to be a really interesting pistol round. I want to see how this comes out on both sides. Both teams are really good and very evenly matched. Whoever comes out on top here could have a really interesting dynamic over the other. And when they're so evenly matched, it's never fully in one side or the other. Oh. It appears Prone may have just flown through the map boundary.
Yeah, that's just that's part of settings and
Placing
custom
swamp
lobbies that must have been left on. See it fast C hit coming through here. Crone's gonna find one with the turret plus 1 headshot. 3-on-3 situation. Jumbo getting plant down early. Minnetonka in a precarious situation. All 3 players on site here. Choco gonna spot one player out on the flank. They take care of the garage push, no problem there. And now advantageous position. Minnetonka finding some nice shots, but now into a one-on-one. Taisha versus Jumbo. And it's Taisha to find the final frag.
Minnetonka did a good job there watching all sides of the box. There was never a point where one side of the box was left unwatched. No attacker really ever got on one side of the box and was unnoticed. The only time that happened was right there in the last 1v1, but you can't do much when you only have one pair of eyes. So, St. Louis Park, they claim first pistol round. Let's see if they can prevent the bonus on the side of Minnetonka. Minnetonka definitely still are in it to potentially get that thrifty, so we'll have to see how this comes out.
Yeah, Tonka, you know, definitely in a not the worst position, right? You see a few purchases of light armor, so buying a little bit of HP backing, trying to get themselves in a decent spot to maybe find a couple frags on this economy round, right? You didn't invest too heavily. You're playing for next round. You're playing for better weaponry. Let's see how it goes for them. A fast C hit on the cards here. And they find the first of the round. And big shots coming off the back of it. Minnetonka find themselves a 4-on-2 position. And this is huge. You were talking about a thrifty. And here's a chance for Minnetonka.
They're finding the weaponry from the kills they're getting here. Those pickups mean a world. They can change the course of the round. From now what was a thrifty, it is now an even matchup in terms of weaponry. So we'll have to see how these two teams make that work.
Look at this. Almost no HP on this jet. Zova doesn't actually clear back sight, and it's going to cost them. SLP almost certainly going to drop. They find a pistol, but they get thriftied on the follow-up.
Taisha ultimately not having enough HP to really contest anything. A classic shot would have just done the trick. So you gotta kind of work with what you've got and play a little sneakily. So it was interesting to see how that panned out. The thrifty does come through though, which is super interesting to see. That is kind of rare. We're on 1-1. We'll have to see how things go into this round. Who comes out on top? We're going into a round with a mixed buy on the side of Minnetonka with some rifles, 2 SMGs, and an LMG. That's an interesting buy for sure, and not a common one. But when you come off a thrifty, you don't really have all the money in the world to afford all of the rifles.
Early pick coming out from the Jumbo. Now another one to follow. Boot. So Minnetonka. Some early picks here
Last
on this
rookie
round.
remaining.
Fanton going to take care of it nicely. SLP, not a lot of economy to back this round, and it's showing. Tonka in a 5-on-1 situation. Make it a 5-0. Flawless.
The chamber utility there still kind of proving that he's a sentinel, although as patches goes on it becomes a little muddy whether he's a sentinel anymore. It did pick up Crone and they were immediately able to read and pick that off, so it's going to be interesting to see how St. Louis Park here approach kind of taking down Minnetonka off the streak they're building here. Off of the Thrifty, I mean, that was a really good round for them, and currently they're just going to keep making the economy work. They're on kind of a half buy, still kind of trying to make the guns they still have work. St. Louis Park, however, full buys. We're going to have to see this pans out if the gunplay really makes a difference.
Yeah, early stun on A short, going to stun up a lot of these Minnetonka attackers. Crone going to be on high alert that a hit might be coming towards this A site. We'll have to see how Minnetonka adapt. They already are calling back the A hit. Chamber up middle. Woozy not ready for the peak and a bit lazy and asleep at the wheel for the defense side. And now a full rotate coming in towards C, but look at how many defenders are still over here for the side of St. Louis Park. Could be able to cause some damage here, Cookie. Flash out. Players up close. Schmugler popping some util. Pushing into backside. Jumbo with the early shots. Spaceman not ready. And Tonka are going huge.
Mnvl is playing really aggressively, using utility to his advantage. He's making sure that none of the angles are approachable by St. Louis Park, and Minnetonka just claims site because there's no opposition to them. That was masterful piece of art. That was really pretty. I'm looking for how St. Louis Park are going to respond to that. This is overall super commanding.
Yeah, me as well. Right response is needed at this point. St. Louis Park down on the money, but so far Minnetonka have been commanding the map, commanding the pace of play. They have the money, they have the weapons, and looking to go up 4-1 here early, Cookie. It's been a great look from Minnetonka so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Minnetonka have been making a real showing of this so far. St. Louis Park, however, I do feel are an equal, if not better team. So we're going to have to see that it comes out right. This is only the first 4 rounds. There's an entire game left, and I think St. Louis Park will have an easy time flipping this around if they get the chance.
Bot coming back.
Man, yeah, it's a tricky position here. 3-on-4, make it a 1-on-4.
Spike
Cone trying to
planted.
walk back into this site. Only a judge. So we'll see if anybody peeks close. Starting to peek out more and more. Has the classic. Maybe trying to bait in some of these players. Gonna have the judge up close when they show up. The turret for first contact, not a bad idea. But I think Minnetonka are aware that he's up to something.
Minnetonka are definitely tempering their greed here. A lot of teams would have been greedy and potentially would have pushed that up. And I think Crone was definitely trying to play off the fact that Minnetonka, in their position of basically power over St. Louis Park, we're going to rush him quite aggressively. But that ended up not happening. They tempered themselves and they went, okay, let's claim this round. Let's not throw anything stupid at Crone. And Schmugler would find that nice headshot right through the wall.
Yeah, that was a great shot from Schmugler. Perfect angle. Shutting down any peaks. And right now, St. Louis Park kind of being locked out of this game. You see Nora at the top of the scorecard, 7-1, 7-4 for Jumbo on the chamber, and really making the chamber work still off some aggressive play. St. Louis Park having a tough time reacting and keeping this Tonka team out of these bomb sites. Now trying to play for a full retake setup, so switching up how they're playing. You're going to dodge out on the Rolling Thunder. Now might be able to have a hack at this round here, Cookie.
St. Louis Park are trying to
Spike
make this
planted.
off-site kind of hold work. They're not really going to try and prevent them from taking site. Losing those players to a push that is now known to have not been defendable is not going to work. So they're trying something different. They're going to play off that Killjoy ult and kind of make them push off of site on their own. And we're going to see something really interesting come out from Jumbo. They're trying to play it out.
They're trying to retake this site right now. It's a decent hold from St. Louis Park. The updraft over the
Last
top.
player
They know where
standing.
he's at. It doesn't matter. They take care of it. The spike got defused, and St. Louis Park are going to find a round. So they get a little bit of something.
Right here.
St. Louis Park's strategy there with the Killjoy ult, it worked. Clearly it did. It pushed them off site, gave them a good foothold onto site. To have to push it again is oftentimes not going to work, but you can't always rely on the Killjoy ult. If I'm not mistaken, it is 7 ult points. That is expensive. That you're only going to get that once every 4 or 5 rounds. You can't get one win every 4 or 5 rounds to win a game, so it's going to be interesting to see how they work off of non-ult plays where they can kind of really come into strategy rather than ruthless.
St. Louis Park down on economy again. It's been the story of the game. Tonka sitting nicely and rushing onto this base site, desperately trying to take some space. Gumbo finds the first. It's Taisha with the Sheriff to find the second, but it's Tonka doubling down and finding a 4v2
Spike
advantage
planted.
here, Cookie. Spike plant to follow.
St. Louis Park have to try something here. I reckon they should probably play together, but
Last
it looks
player
like we're going to get a
standing.
flank here, which is quickly shut down.
Yeah, Chaco shuts that one down. It's just Woozy left with the shorty, and it doesn't seem real likely to pull this one back. You know, this seems like another round flowing over in favor of Minnetonka.
Woozy's stuck in jail right now. They know he's in garage. They're once again tempering themselves. They're not pushing him relatively aggressively. And Woozy just has very little options as to where he wants to go. Or does he have any options at all? If he had fallen back out onto C-site, there would have been no hope with the shorty. If he had pushed more aggressively on, there would have been no hope. The shorty ultimately just kind of cost him that. Being stuck in the cell, though, that is ultimately a victim of the fact that he is outnumbered. All angles are held.
Yeah, man, outnumbered, outgunned. But now, finally, a buyback, trying to make it competitive. St. Louis Park going to be able to have some weapons to boot, but right now, Tonka up 5-2 in a really commanding position.
Absolutely. Minnetonka are just trying to make these win rounds last for as long as possible. The longer you can get these rounds to extend out, the more likely you are to just command in the round half after a pistol round. So getting these many rounds in the attack is definitely impressive.
Yeah, I mean, a wide open C sight weapon. High ground feels almost gone. Quick satchel away from the raise, but he retucks the spawn. Gets behind the St. Louis Park defenders, but not long enough. Crone shuts it down. An early peek, and now Schmoogler goes aggressive. Reach up this far. I don't know if they were ready for that. Schmoogler finds another one.
Revealing area.
Spaceman trying to get out
Last
on the
player
site. Fights
standing.
the Omen. Won't find the Elim. And now a 1v3 situation. Minnetonka raining down the utility and shutting down St. Louis Park on their gun round and shutting out any hope of starting to find some economy on this half.
Nora had an idea there, and it almost worked. The satchels to get around into spawn completely caught St. Louis Park off guard. They were not ready for the player to immediately peek out. However, Nora, in the heat of the moment, they choked. Happens to everybody. Could have been so much more, although they still do claim the round with their command and control of C-site. No defenders on site to apprehend them. Overall, they swapped the way the game was going. They were now defenders, and their job just became a lot easier.
Fast hit through B. Nora already up in the face. Won't gonna find that Elim and get an upgrade of a Phantom for his troubles. And it's Tonka desperately trying to get onto the site. Uzi trying to line up his Hunter Fury. It hits Schmoogler once. Second tag won't come through. Taisha finds a headshot to boot, and now a 5v3. An opportunity for St. Louis Park to get back on the scoreboard, which they desperately need to take advantage of. Rolling Thunder to follow through. They're burning down the gate of the utility to get this round.
One enemy remaining.
The full defuse coming out in a flawless round. So St. Louis Park finally looking decent again.
What a way to come back. Flawless. Crazy. Maybe this is a hint more at that Minnetonka can't VP site. That is valuable information for St. Louis Park. even if it culminates in just one round, I think that St. Louis Park, the information they gain from the fact that B is clearly going to keep working for them, they can start working on strategies to compress Minnetonka from both sides. If they play aggressively from both C and A, they can kind of squish the group into B, and then once they're on B, assuming there's even on numbers, it could be an even easier retake than, for example, C, which has not been working out for them.
I mean, here it is again. They just got onto this B site fast last time. They didn't use the ultimates, but they have them this round. So thinking that they do it again, they play off the ultimates this time, Cookie. I think this plan works out much better for Minnetonka. Let's see how it plays out through Lee. But now a 4-on-3 quickly. St. Louis Park finding some quick elims to turn this one in their favor. Make it a 3-on-3. It's already halfway stuck. Do they know? They do span it eventually. It's halfway defused though. This one's gonna get stuck. It doesn't get finished. So close.
Last
That's
player
like
standing.
was on the brink, and now it's just Uzi in the 1-on-2. It doesn't feel likely for St. Louis Park to find this one. And it's gonna be Tonka finding a big round.
That clutch earthquake sealed that round in Minnetonka's favor. If that hadn't launched him up in the air, that was game over for Minnetonka that round.
Yeah, that was a beautifully timed breach ultimate, so props to Schmoogler on that nicely timed breach ultimate for Minnetonka. Making it a 7-3 ball game and really starting to test this St. Louis Park defense. Giving them a wake-up call, surely. And now 2 rounds left in the half here, Cookie. St. Louis Park, 2 ultimates. Minnetonka, 2 ultimates. And a big opening frag found by Taisha.
Yeah, we have 2 ults on the side of St. Louis Park and 2 ults on the side of Minnetonka. We're getting close to halftime. So as these rounds go on and we get closer and closer to half, you're going to want to see these ults come out. Ideally, you want to see them come out maybe even now. Although Minnetonka at player advantage may not see the investment potential in that. They may not be able to profit enough off of it. So going into next round is going to be really interesting because these players are going to be so much more committed to maybe using their ults a little more aggressively.
Very true. And now with the 2-man advantage, St. Louis Park really just kind of trying to batten down the hatches defensively. Baseman flashing, not peeking. Prone coming over to back him up. Will get Prowlered. A good flash. This time going to hit up a couple in the Killjoy Molly. Going to let them know that B side is being held pretty nicely. Stun comes out. Omen on the flank. Simon going to have to be careful now. Players coming back to peek.
I win again.
A nice headshot found by Jumbo takes Krona out of the equation.
30 seconds left.
Does he know Spaceman's up close? Little
my
shimmy
trap.
steps
Here.
that trip gonna reveal him. Spaceman finds
player
one
standing.
fully blinded.
Spike
So
down
good
B.
effort there. Now 2-on-1. St. Louis Park man advantage. It's just Phantom left in the 1v2. He
remaining.
peeks out aggro, finds the first,
10
and has
seconds
time to
left.
sneak away to the A site. This is where it becomes tricky. 1v1. Phantom versus
Spike
Simon.
planted.
Omen throws the smoke out early. A TP aggressively. Phantom, does he know where Simon got to? He treks back to A short. Spike not planted. Simon not ready for the peek. It's short, and it's Minnetonka with the clutch.
Last
Minnetonka
round
did a
before
really
the
good
switch.
job there in mid as of like the second half of the round. They were doing such an amazing job playing off of each other. When one person peeked, for example, on Spaceman, the other was right there behind them to make sure that Spaceman didn't walk away with a profit. And when it ultimately culminated in a clutch scenario, they did an amazing job holding that bomb. Simon wasn't able to capitalize off of it, although it was very close.
Yeah, and
There.
right now, in this situation,
You
one
want to
round
play?
left in this
Let's
first
play.
half. Ultimate's certainly going to come out. Early stunts towards these players at A short. Blind as well. Simon trying to fight aggressively, but Minnetonka going to continue to push forward and fight their way towards this A site.
Bring them
St. Louis
down.
Park have this full man push red to a T. All of their defenders are here.
And they're ready for this push, but can they stop it? That's the question. It doesn't seem like they have been able to yet. And a big rocket comes out. Simon down to 1 HP. He makes it a great effort finding a 3K. And now 2v2. Simon still left in short.
Last player
The
standing.
timing not on his side. And now Crone in a 1 versus 2. They need him for something magical. So we got a
enemy
judge in
remaining.
hand. The jump out peek. He gets the first. It's getting tricky. Jumbo on site. He hears the killjoy bouncing around. The judge in hand. He goes for the gun upgrade, and it costs him. Gun over the round. Gun over the man. Crone.
Switching
Gotta
sides.
get it sorted out.
Let
It's
us
a
see what
9-3
they have
half,
done
and
for
it's
us this time.
Minnetonka. Up big right now, Cookie.
Crone making that judge work around the corner. Of course, that's what the judge is great at. Jumping around, it's a spread, so it doesn't really matter if you're moving or not. Jumping around, getting those picks, that's what the judge is for. Ultimately, succumb to the fact that the judge wasn't going to be very useful along the box if you're just going to be switching sides that whole time. But impressive showing to profit off of the judge play like that is difficult. Judge and shotguns in general are not the best guns in Valorant, so to find those little things with them is important. As we go into pistol round here, we're in a 9-3 half. Do you think we are in a 9-3 curse here, Skep?
I think you need to win pistol rounds for the 9-3 curse to even be spoken of. So we'll have to see what St. Louis Park do. They have to find themselves a pistol round to get this thing started out on the pleasant side. If they don't, I think it might be a quick win for Minnetonka.
Revealing area.
St. Louis Park trying to pressure this A site. Taisha with a fast dash onto the site here. Opening frag goes to
down
Nora.
A.
Crone gonna get taken out early. Now a 3-on-3 situation here. Minnetonka trying to fight their way back onto the site. Phantom very low on HP on this fade. And SLP desperately need to come through on this round. Big shots from Schmoogler. Doesn't find the tags. Woozy doesn't know that he's
Player
getting shot at
standing.
from above. Taisha on the flank. Simon says with the 3K. And it's St. Louis Park. Maybe breathing some life into this 9-3 curse.
Schmoogler unlucky there with the right clicks on the classic. You know, the spread, it's all randomized, so there's no set pattern. When he tries to get picks from heaven, he's running a gamble. Do the bullets go where I want them to go? Will they go where I want them to go? Ultimately, he isn't detected very quickly and gets a pickup, but it wasn't it for Minnetonka this time around. Although pistol round might seem like a super important round, it is, but it's not game over for sure.
Right now, definitely a position where, oh, look at this push from Tonka. St. Louis Park are ready for this. Two spam shots in smoke, but the push comes through. They weren't exactly ready for it. Tonka making a man advantage for the time being.
One
Woozy
enemy
forces
remaining.
back into a 2-on-2. Now it's only Crone. Woozy finds 2, and then somehow St. Louis Park stay upright for that round.
Minnetonka trying to make a second thrifty work. They used their weaponry perfectly there in the situations that were applicable. The shorty used perfectly in a close quarter situation where its range is effective, and they got really close there to a second thrifty, and overall, that's a really valuable skill to have, to be able to almost find these thrifties nearly every single time you lose a pistol round. So we're going into this round with a really interesting dynamic of St. Louis Park being able to shut this down with at least a couple players remaining. We'll have to see how this pans out for the rest of the half. We could see it come back together. Remember, these teams are super close together.
Yeah, these teams are tightly, very, very tight on the standings where these two teams stack up, right? Tonka been getting the better of them so far, but St. Louis Park now trying to work their way up onto this A site. A dash out from the Jet, gonna take the site. Realize that Tonka are not home. They're playing for a retake situation. And Spike plant gets interrupted from a beautifully placed paint shells from the Rays, and now some tags into heaven. Will hit Rays once or twice. Nothing critical going down so far, and now a 5v5 situation. If Minnetonka pull off this retake, it would be something huge. But so far, St. Louis Park light up the kill feed red. It's a 4-on-2 situation.
Player
Manson
standing.
plus Choco. Choco hits the deck. Manson stunned up, and St. Louis Park gonna show up on the bonus round and strike. I mean, this is the 9-3 curse rolling in now. Now you can definitely say it's real.
Oh yeah, we can see it happening right in front of us, right? I mean, continuing on with those weapons from what was supposed to be their bonus, they do end up collecting it. They were not gonna let that stone lay unturned, right? They just wanted that bonus. Even if they lose what is supposed to be the bonus, they're gonna get it back anyway. Going into this round though, the decision to stay on those weapons is no longer the right one, and they're going for full weaponry this time. And Minnetonka are just in a position where they cannot combat this anymore. Their economy, it's in shambles.
Yeah, so far, might be looking good. Tonka on the save. They saw Chamber close log. Jet thinking about the peak, working up slowly to TP out from Chamber. A Jet holding off that CT, realizing that nobody is home. Schmoogler gonna find one. Chamber sneaks out garage, will drop. Now Schmoogler trying to beat through smoke. Crouch will drop.
One enemy remaining.
Shots, Paranoia comes out. Woozy finds the player in garage. And now it's only one player left, flanking Phantom X from long position. Woozy coming back to play it. Can Phantom find the timing on this? Not going to happen. Crone. Snap headshot. And it's a 7-9 game. SLP punching their way back into it.
SLP really showing that they can still be in this. The 9-3 curse flowing through their veins. They're ready to take this on. And Minnetonka, they're just struggling to write a response, but now the economies are on the same level. And now that they're on the same level, Minnetonka just need to find a way to prove that they still have the mettle to bring this game together. After all, they're still on 9 rounds. All they need is another 4 or 5 to bring it back to home in Minnetonka.
Right now, Tonka up 2 rounds. St. Louis Park attack have not lost quite yet. We'll see if Minnetonka can adapt and read the play. Tonka swing out, and it's Jumbo with 2 marvelous kills. Bound through the garage position. St. Louis Park trying to dash on him in the C site while they can. All 4 Minnetonka players in a retake position, trying to come to the site now. Attack for Killjoy, ultimate use. So good usage of utility by Crone to buy some time here for St. Louis Park. Minnetonka have to wait out this time frame before taking this site. So automatically chipping away at that clock. An Omen ulti and a spawn going to cancel as well. So just continuing to delay Minnetonka.
Oh, they know.
They know, but they don't know one other is close, and Woozy finds 2, and now Tonka numbers chopped in half. A 2v2 situation, now 1v1. Nora v Woozy. Woozy backing away, has ultimate to play off of. Nora realizes it, pushes him down, and it's going to be another round going the way of St. Louis Park.
St. Louis Park, they're just dominating these defense rounds. They're about to even the score. Minnetonka really have to find a solution here. They are clearly very attack focused. I wonder if they have any new strategies up their sleeve that they can probably pull out right now, because they really need it.
Yeah, St. Louis Park, since moving over to this attacking half, have not lost a single attacking round. 5 unanswered. Minnetonka, weaponry not so good. They're kind of investing, but it's mainly going to be a buy save for next. Nora with that rifle save from last, and another full round of rifles for St. Louis Park. Should very well be able to even up the score if they play it right. St. Louis Park working up mid slowly, and look at this flank from Minnetonka. Already up close and personal behind. Who's going to be ready to read this push? Playing quite slow in middle here. Crone gonna run into Schmoogler. Certainly takes him out free. And now this C site might be a little bit opened up here. St. Louis Park trying to push through garage.
Teleport's ready.
Sneaky this half. Jumbo! Opportunity doesn't find it. St. Louis Park got the site.
Another failed random number generator situation. The classic right click proves again to be unreliable.
Yeah, there's just no point in doing
Last
it.
player standing.
Ready.
That right click never bodes well. Here you have it. St. Louis Park tying it up at 9 apiece here. And talking out a full belt of ultimates.
You honestly would have never guessed that these teams would be as close as they actually are throughout our first half, but wow, St. Louis Park are honestly putting on a dominant show in this second half. They're just demonstrating their proficiency on the defense side of Haven.
My goodness, man. And here we have it. Minnetonka not able to answer defensively yet. They have to find a way to start this St. Louis Park push because they haven't been able to yet. We're tied up at 9. They have ultimates. That's the one thing left to rely on. Schmoogler up close. Somehow finds Taisha. Will drop the Spaceman utility. St. Louis Park fake the hit, though. They completely pump the brakes, and they start to pull back.
I dropped the spike.
4 on 4 now. Where do they work from here, Cookie?
It looks like their odds might be well invested into mid, but we'll have to see here. As a defender, it can be very difficult for someone like Minnetonka to defend 3 sites as 4 people. Ultimately, one of those sites is going to be stronger than the rest, and it's ultimately betting as to which one they'll go to and which one to defend the most. They're trying to make a garage sting work, which gives them the opportunity to either push B or C, which is the kind of flexibility you need at this point.
And St. Louis Park threatening a hit on multiple fronts, and now deciding the location is through garage. They find the trade. Simon good for that one. And now 3 on 3 situation. 20 seconds on the clock. Sticking around at garage for now. St. Louis Park going to plant this spike. Big round implications on the line here, folks. 9-9 situation. Trying to become champion of Divisionals. Increase placing, and it's the ultimates coming through. Nora gonna get hit by that rolling thunder and running out of time on the rocket. He pops it close. It's a one-on-one situation. It's Nora versus Crone. And it's Crone through the smoke. It's St. Louis Park finding it 10-9. They've come back all the way from 9-3.
St. Louis Park.
Is the curse real, man? You asked me if it was real.
The curse is real. We're coming from 9-3 to 10-9. St. Louis Park are really going to make this work from what it seems. Minnetonka got real close there, but Crone just found it right through that smoke. Honestly impressive. Most people would not have found that. That is just an impressive showing by the side of St. Louis Park. Minnetonka, though, they're finding out how to counter this now. It's going to be an interesting last few rounds.
Last few rounds on the horizon. Tonka still yet to find an answer here on attack. On defense. St. Louis Park has been lights out on this attacking half. Early utility usage to try to keep these attackers at bay, so Tonka reacting quickly. Chamber over here, posted up towards A main. No sign of retreating yet.
Get out of
Still
my
trying
way.
to figure out what these defenders have in store. And now trying to move up towards long. The paranoia comes out. Attackers moving in. Jet up top looking for the pick. Already traded out a piece. So 4v4 situation. And now Nora up close. The stinger in hand finds
Last
2
player
massive
standing.
elims. Choco Mint makes it a 1v3, and now Taisha. Spike down, troubling position. Tonka moving in for the flank. They're trying to box him in and take away any opportunity of winning this round. 30 seconds on the clock. Taisha peeking into garage.
30
Are they ready
seconds
for
left.
this? He's got to be close. And the Bucky comes out. A thrifty round found. And Minnetonka showing up, man. What an absolute stoppage. Keeping it even, and 10-10 is the perfect time for Minnetonka to come alive and even up the scorecard.
You know, Minnetonka, they wrote it on the wall last round. They really showed that they were on the verge of finally finding these rounds again. And what better time to find it than right as the score's even? This could go overtime.
We'll have to see. There's still plenty of rounds left to played out here, folks. 2 ultimates apiece here. Really dart into garage, and Minnetonka continuing to shift and adapt their defense as we get deeper and deeper into this second half. Who's going to come out with the first blood of this round? So much riding on this. Jumbo and Taisha up neck and neck, wall to wall, and they have no idea. One little sound cue could be the difference maker between these two. And if Taisha doesn't hard right clear this angle, he's going to die. He doesn't do it. And Jumbo comes out, and it's Minnetonka opening it up. 1-0 start to this one.
I mean, that situation in sewer there was who needed to go where at what point, and defenders there don't really have to go anywhere but where they are currently. So ultimately, the attackers.
Wow, Jumbo coming out absolutely massive for Minnetonka here. Again, they stuff St. Louis Park's push efforts at A short. Simon comes up huge in a 1v5 situation. He finds the first two, making it a 1-on-3. Now getting out on the site, trying to bait out a plant. Trying to bait out some utility. He gets hit up and he gets pushed. And it's going to be an 11-10 lead. Minnetonka coming alive for 2 rounds in a row.
Minnetonka are at the point where they just need to make this stick. They can't really afford to take one of these rounds to St. Louis Park. To let St. Louis Park collect one of these rounds is to take away a lot of their momentum, and to take away a lot of the momentum pushes this game closer and closer to the point where we might go to overtime or they'll surrender the win. So it's really interesting to see how risky they're getting this late in the game to try and make these things work, because when the teams are so close, you got to take those risks, and if they pan out, that's where the glory comes from.
Man, it's an 11-10 situation. Minnetonka stringing together 2 defensive rounds now and regaining the lead for themselves. So a big resurgence coming out from this Minnetonka team. Now 2 ultimates apiece for both these squads. Crone here working middle. Has the Killjoy online. Hunter's Fury as well. Able to be called in for Woozy. The showstopper for Nora. And it's the Rolling Thunder for Schmoogler. So all of these ultimates you gotta keep track of.
We're seeing slow gameplay here for once, which will probably work out weirdly here. Maybe we'll see a B hit here. The Killjoy ult would definitely prove useful in a B site hit. It covers the entire site and will keep defenders off of site until bomb is down. So it'll be an interesting dynamic to hear to see which site they end up actually choosing.
Yeah, now those defenders starting to rotate over towards this A site. Crone heard the TP across. And he knows that these defenders are moving into a rotate retake position. 5v5, it's all going to come down to a round like this. Ultimate's going to come into play, and this one could go either way. Big Rolling Thunder to kick it off. It's Minnetonka wasting no time, jumping into the fray. Simon going to take out Schmoogler, but he finds, or take out Jumbo, but Schmoogler finds the trade. Nora already sticking this defuse to half. They get it half. So now Schmoogler going to hop back on it, and Tonka going to win this round. Almost free.
Tonka definitely understood that there are 3 pulses in Sova ult, and rotating it off from somebody who's been tagged already to somebody who hasn't is a good way to kind of bait the Sova into continuing to ult onto bomb, but not quite understand yet that that ultimate is not going to kill and that aggression doesn't need to happen yet. So overall, it was just a misread, as in how much aggression needed to be applied to keep that round in play, and Minnetonka just profited off of it. We're going into match point here.
Match point indeed. Minnetonka 1 round away from punching their ticket to being champs of Divisionals. Crone working over to A main with Spike and with Taisha. Rest of the SLP squad scattered over towards middle garage. Raze is tucked close. I don't know if they are aware of Nora's position here, but this could be game changing for this Raze. Tucked in close, gonna peek out. They tag him up heavy, and now with Nora dropped out of the round, A site wide open, and St. Louis Park sneaking in when it matters most.
Not all attackers on site yet. If they play this too quickly and don't let their other players come on before they drop, this might be a bad round for them, but overall, it's looking very on the upside.
On the upside for now, Spaceman going to find one with the Spectre. Taisha adds to the tally, and now St. Louis Park, 5v2 situation. 1 at Heaven, 1 at CT. Making only 1 remaining player. Phantom with this Phantom. Trying to produce magic, but it's not going to happen. It's Spaceman with the 3K, and it's St. Louis Park 1 round away from overtime. Can they do what what we did not see earlier, right? We saw 1 round shy of the OT magic. Can we get that right here, right now?
I think St. Louis Park have shown all game that magic is on their side, and they have good odds bringing this into overtime. But Minnetonka, of course, equally as skilled team, they could very easily win the game here. So it all depends. Will it all culminate into a good round?
That is the question. 1 ultimate in play. It is Spaceman's Rolling Thunder, and boy, oh boy, could that be a difference maker. Really pressure coming out from Minnetonka Utility. St. Louis Park in this garage position, tucked away early. As Taisha holding any A pressure at bay. And same thing can be said for C Long. St. Louis Park just letting the clock run, letting the slow burn effect take place. Little do they know that 3 defenders are on the opposite side of the map right now, and this would be the best time to take off the back of an ultimate. 55 seconds and counting. Cookie, slow burn taking place.
Definitely. I think St. Louis Park here are trying to get Minnetonka to get confused. They want them to kind of do what they're doing right now and kind of throw whatever they have, what they think will happen. But what they think will happen is really what actually does. And as we can see here, the 3 defenders that were on
left.
A now have to scramble to get over here as quickly as possible to prevent this plan.
And a gunfight coming down in garage. Simon gets 1, gets traded out. Now 4-on-3. Ultimate available for Spaceman. And I think St. Louis Park just waiting to peek off the back of this Rolling Thunder. Surely should secure the round. The Rolling Thunder comes out. Players getting stunned up. Now St. Louis Park waiting. Good utility comes out from the breach. But the lineup for Nora. And now it's trouble. 2-on-1. It's up to Rosie to clutch. And it's not going to happen. Park gets shut down in the final round of the game.
Oh my god. Whoa.
The lineup for Nora is
Oh my
unreal.
God.
The defuse stick, Jumbo Mumbo with the 3K. I mean, dude, what a back and forth game. You just can't make it up. You can't make it up.
Holy crap, I'm like impressed. The ability to keep that mental up and to just come back in half like that is nuts. And then that final round was nuts. It could have gone both ways up until the final moments of that round. That was insane.
Absolute insanity, folks. There's a reason that they're going to start calling this one the Mnvl Classic. St. Louis Park and Minnetonka have delivered every single time that they have met each other as counterparts on the server. So, folks, I mean, this is just another iteration of this classic matchup going down and getting etched into history. We will see both these teams come state finals time. Cookie, do you have any closing thoughts before we head to a quick break?
I think we honestly got to give kudos to both teams there, man. It was an impressive showing by everybody in the game. They all contributed so much to such an amazing game in this, what is now an Mnvl Classic.
Yeah, man, for real. What an opportunity for both these squads to really show out and showcase their playability here today. I mean, you know, St. Louis Park, they fall around short from pushing things into overtime. But overall, a very good effort coming out of both squads, Cookie. Folks, I want to give a final shout out to VERSION1, our primary sponsor for our Valorant broadcasts. VERSION1 has been supporting Mnvl for quite some time. So, you know, always have to give back and show our appreciation to the V1 fam. If you want to attend a V1 watch party and meet some of the staff tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. at the V1 HQ. They got semifinals and grand finals going down for the V1 Rocket League team that's playing out in Rotterdam, Netherlands, folks. It's going to be must-see action. So go there, check it out. Cookie, any final remarks for V1?
Man, V1 has been nothing but awesome to our league, you know, paying all the entry fees for everybody. Their awesome community outreach through V1 community. It's all amazing. And as a final note, their new rocker and basic V1 jersey both look spectacular. I'm in love. They're awesome. I'd recommend taking a look. Oh boy,
sure.
they're good looking jerseys.
For sure. Go check it out. All that available at version1.gg, folks. We appreciate everybody coming out to support these Mnvl Valorant Divisionals, folks. We had an action-packed day. We hope that you got to see all of it take place. Some amazing games, all three of them. Cookie, I appreciate you being here on the caster booth with
Absolutely.
me. And until next time, guys, we'll catch you guys here tomorrow for Sunday Rocket League. Until then, we'll take care, and we'll see you guys next time.